NB pals, guys and gals, welcome back to the Rogue Room. I am your insidious host, the wondrous Abigail Beck, the one and only. There's no more. They tried cloning me and it was a really horrific failed experiment, and all of the clones turned into these cannibalistic monsters. They ate my sister. So we're not doing... When I say I'm the one and only, it's because we tried to make more, because this job is honestly kind of debilitating, and I was thinking I need the backup. I'd like to have alternatives that I could just boot up a clone, let them do it, and I can go play video games for the evening, but as it stands, the clone thing didn't work out. Anyway, welcome in. We're going to do some news tonight. We're gonna catch up on some stuff. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to cover some news. All sorts of things. How have you been? How's your weekend been? Cannibal Clone sounds like a Cannibal Holocaust sequel or prequel. It could be either, or another interpretation thereof. I have a thing to show you, folks. You might recall recently on the social media, on one of the social media. Do we have a mod that can do the poll for me? You might have recalled recently on Twitter I posted something about boots with pockets. All right, I'll do the poll then. Fine. I don't know why you insist on like your gross food combos, to be honest, Fox. But okay. Peas, mayo, that doesn't even make sense. Why are two of the options pizza? There you go. Whichever one of those wins is the worst. Okay, I tweeted about some boots and they had pockets. So, I bought the boots with pockets. You can't see them very well, but you know, there's pockets. Look. You can put your phone in there. There's a spot for your phone. And they've got like black stuff coming off them. But I got the boots. And they got big platforms. They got big stompies. Look. I'm going to wear them soon properly. They're awesome. They're freaking awesome, dude. She do a stomp. We have to roll with the boots. Give us the blades. Give us the Batman and the Robin ice skate blades and all the other extras. Broken. There you go. I'm not kissing my finger because I'll get black shit off me. Anyway, Hulk Hogan meat shoes were designed with a compartment to warm up your jerky while you walk around all day. Is that a real thing? I feel like that's a real thing. That sounds terrifying. Is it a vast conspiracy that robs women of pant pockets? Yes. Yes, it always has been. Unironically, though. Like, the fact that women do... Like, think about this for a second. Actually think about it. Women's clothing is generally designed around the idea of women not having pockets. Get this. So that they either have to carry a handbag, which puts all of their stuff conveniently in one place that, you know, if there's a thief coming by, they can slash the handle on the thing. Or, you know, if someone holds you up at gunpoint, they can just say, hand over your purse. Men get pockets, which is a little bit more secure because your stuff's on your person. But if someone pickpockets you and, like, cuts the strap of your handbag and runs off with it, it's a conspiracy, but it has a lot of bearing, okay? Hey, Kiara, enjoy that look. when Abigail Beck doesn't wear black. I can't believe she's not goth. I live for this, okay? I'm smiling even. Like, look at me. I'm smiling and laughing and giggling and shit. I'm not the best goth, honestly. It's a gag. It's a laugh. Think more pockets is more deterrence. Exactly. And you want to know what it is? They want women to get big, strong men to walk around with them. So they want women to carry handbags. And they don't want to put pockets on women's clothes because they want women to carry handbags around. Because then there's a couple of things here. Okay. First of all, if there's no pockets on women's clothing, they can't put like wallets and keys and phones and whatever else makeup in their pockets and make them look all bulky and unattractive. See, if you have no pockets on your pants, you can't put stuff in them, and thus you maintain that nice smooth thigh silhouette, right? Or nice smooth butt silhouette. You know, so people are looking at you and they're like, yeah, I like the look of that woman that doesn't have like a bulky wallet and phone and keys shoved in her pants pockets. That's part one. Part two is if a woman doesn't have pockets and she carries a handbag around, then the expectation is she must have a big, strong boyfriend nearby, so no robbers will come by and try to steal their stuff. It's ridiculous. Anyway, women don't have possessions. It's just blatant sexism, honestly. I feel like you should be able to get pants with pockets. I know, it's kind of ridiculous. It's really, honestly, just absurd. The whole idea, at the surface level, let's put it to you this way. The reality is, they don't put pockets on women's pants because they want you to buy handbags. The same companies that are not putting pockets in pants, the same companies selling you handbags. So they want you to spend more money on the thing to carry your stuff around in. They're working together, the fashion industry. More like the fascist industry. Because they're oppressing women. Anyway. Just buy men's jeans, women. Just do it. Put your wallet, your phone, your keys in the men's jeans pockets. Anyway. Alex Jones' comment was also a joke. I missed it. I wasn't reading. I was too busy on a tangent to read chat. How you going, folks? How's your weekend been? What have you been up to? I'm feeling a little bit tired, and usually when I'm feeling a little bit tired, I like to crack open a nice cold can of Monster Sugar-Free in the big silver can, but I don't have it with me. Instead, I've got this shaker here that's purple. It's nice purple. But I don't seem to have a can of Monster handy. Or a coffee, but I don't feel like coffee right now. I feel like shilling out for a corporation that pays me nothing. The white cans. I like the white cans. Yes, I do. You like V more? V is good. V is good. I will give you that. Oh. Hello. Thank you, assistant. It's my assistant. She also makes out with me sometimes. Anyway, you're off to bed, Dis. Radio, have a good one. Didn't know there was a sugar-free Monster. Now you do. It's this one. Your whole weekend was trying to sew those little hooks that are a bitch. Little hooks? Assistant that makes out with me sometimes, yeah. It's a thing. It's part of the benefits package. Spent the weekend stressing about fascist uprisings and consequential government chokehold on any kind of protest. Yes, that is a genuine worry, honestly. With the way the UK has been trying to stamp down right to protest, and the way that the Australia, the country where I live in, mate, the way that Australia has been trying to suppress independent media coverage. I mean, and really right to protest as well in some ways. They haven't, as far as I know, there hasn't been any discussion of bills trying to stamp down on legitimate protest here in Australia, but the fact that it happened over in the UK is scary enough when, yeah, there are fascist uprisings. Especially in the internet age when everything is moving 10 times faster, 20 times faster than it was, well, I'm just throwing random numbers out. The world today, the information superhighway that we have that is the internet, is a significant, I don't know, like, the speed with which we communicate these days, with things like social media and so many different news publications and YouTube channels and streams on Twitch like this, like, we're constantly just, there's always a new stream of information hitting us. And like 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have that. You know, like people from 30 or 40 years ago, or even 20 years ago. Like, I started using computers when the internet, like, I'm an early 2000s internet baby. I was in the wild west of the internet, right? Back before there was so much corporatization and regulation of it. You know, nowadays the internet is significantly more sanitized, but 20 years ago things were a lot different. And as a result of things being a lot different, as a result of the popularity of the internet just slowly starting to bud, things were still a lot slower back then. We mainly communicated via like MSN and what was it, ICQ, and yeah, like when you wanted to download stuff, it would take you hours and upon hours before you could watch a movie on very legitimate film and television episode download programs and sites that were not illegal. Look, we didn't have Netflix back in 2002, at least not modern interpretations of it. I never used ICQ, but I did use MSN. And yeah, all the gore sites, which is going to be a factor of my upcoming YouTube video that I'm making. Spoilers! It's about gore! Anyway, horror, Halloween. It's going to be good. Not sure if the package is better or worse than mine because I'm joking / not joking too. I missed what was said. I'm sorry. Information used to spread faster than disinformation. Now they move at the same speed and almost the same reach, which is the terrifying reality of the situation. Where we're at right now. Excuse me. Phone is dying and I maybe need my power bank. Oh. I didn't see that message until just now. Excuse me for a moment while I just go over here randomly and get this strange device that's sitting on my windowsill that's not related to anything. Okay, let's come back to this. Spent 99% of my time back then on the Linkin Park message board / underground. When I was like in 2002, 2003, I was spending a significant length of time on the Sims message boards, and I found a little gaming community around the Sims, but also it expanded to other games, which is where I met like a few of my earlier internet friends. Honestly, a very queer-friendly space back then. I was not really aware of how my mind was working as a young teenager trying to figure myself out. And there were people out there chatting about how they're gay or bi or whatever. And I met other people around my age group back then, which was kind of neat because I always felt like a bit of an outsider. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Are there more people or more bots online? Honestly, I'd say probably more bots, generally speaking, because they can just simulate bots all the time. Anytime you delete a bot, someone can make a new bot. Anyways, in 1990X, my dad hooked his computer to the internet. He knew not to go into the chat rooms. Oh, heck. But yeah, like, honestly, like Forlorn said, information used to spread faster than disinformation. Like, there used to be... Don't get me wrong, like, disinformation has always been a thing, but there was very specifically... There's a story that's coming to mind right now that I can't think of what exactly it is, but there was something that happened with regards to a radio talk show or a television talk show or something along those lines. I can't remember. But there was a certain standard by which people who were social commentators or political commentators or whatever, they were not allowed to be as ridiculously disingenuous as they are now. And it was because some legislation was broken down or some, I can't recall what, that was seen as the catalyst for how many reactionary commentators we've got these days. You know, like people like Alex Jones, people like Steven Crowder, you know, they're just free to say whatever they want and dismiss the reality of the situation. Because they know people... There was the movie Fisher King. No, that's not... No. It was in the 1970s. Yeah, it was quite a while ago. There was a specific old white man who talked into a microphone. And thank you for the hydration. I'll grab that. But I can't remember exactly what his name was or what the exact circumstances were. If someone can think of who I'm thinking of and give us a link to the article, like Wikipedia or whatever. 82% of all email is spam. That does not shock me. Yeah, botting is still very prevalent. And you might... Here's a thought that I want to get out there before we continue on to the news, because we'll do the news soon. You might look at your email sometimes, and you'll see stuff like the Nigerian prince sort of thing, or anything really that's just nonsensical. You'll go through your emails, and you'll see something where it's like half the words are misspelled, there's piss poor grammar and all these kinds of things. But all it needs to be is just convincing enough to get people who are not technologically literate to click on the link in the email or whatever it is. So when you see emails that are full of jank, that are completely nonsense, you think to yourself, nobody would click on this. Nobody would look through this and genuinely take it seriously. It's because you're not the target demographic. They are those spammers and scammers and all that. They are specifically looking for those who are, let's put it frankly, dumb enough to click on it. You know. Johnson Smith. I'll look up Johnson Smith, but I don't know. Or is that a fake name? Because honestly, that wouldn't shock me. No, it's a Johnson Smith company. Let me see. What was the guy's name? We did talk about this recently, and I can't think of who it was. But, yeah. Was a joke. Why do dumb people always have access to a lot of money? I don't know. Because dumb people who are wealthy raise more dumb people? No, there are hot single women in my area. I am one. That's the kind of confidence we like to see. Hell yes. Hell yes. Lictar, thank you for the prime.
Your membership.
For 5 months.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you so kindly, legend. And you know you only just tuned in not long ago, but you got a dip. That's okay, Looper. Go get some rest. Go take some painkillers. Go lay down. Go watch your favorite show for a bit. Don Imus. That name, is that actually a name, or are you fucking with me again? That might be who I'm thinking of. Maybe. Okay. Let me see here. Is this who I'm thinking of? I don't know. I'm not sure. Simply known as Imus, was an American radio personality, TV show host, recording artist, and author. His show Imus in the Morning was aired on various stations and digital platforms nationwide until 2018. I can't remember. Smeared the players from Rutgers, you think? I can't recall what it was. I just, honestly, this is, I hate that this is playing on my head so much, because now I want to know exactly who we're talking about. Because I don't even know what you would look up. Yeah, that doesn't shock me. Like, judging by like looking at his thing, it does. Yeah, he strikes me as a bit of a racist, which, you know, whatever. But yeah, like someone, I don't know if Don Imus is specifically the one, but there was certainly a period in which, a while back, you had to have some level of journalistic integrity whenever you were commentating on social issues, political issues, anything like that. And there was a lawsuit, or there was something, I can't remember which, and basically just broke down that barrier that was preventing those commentators from going full bore on basically just being reactionaries, basically saying whatever they want on their radio or TV shows or whatever. There were regulations that were removed under like the guise of free speech or something along those lines. But I distinctly remember it. We were talking about it. There was a particular social commentator who fired off this movement. Fairness doctrine, maybe. Let's have a look at the... Ronald Reagan did the thing. That wouldn't shock me. And the reason it was done... Let's see. The fairness doctrine of the USFTC, introduced in 1949, was a policy that required the holders of broadcast licenses both to present controversial issues of public importance and to do so in a manner that was honest, equitable, and balanced. Here we go. In 1987, the FCC abolished the fairness doctrine, prompting some to urge its reintroduction through either commission policy or congressional legislation. However, later the FCC removed... Oh, I said FTC before. FCC. Removed the rule that implemented the policy from the Federal Register in August 2011. The fairness doctrine had two basic elements. It required broadcasters to devote some of their airtime to discussing controversial matters of public interest and to air contrasting views regarding those matters. Stations were given latitude as to how to provide contrasting views. It could be done through news segments, public affairs shows, or editorials. The doctrine did not require equal time for opposing views, but required that contrasting viewpoints be presented. The demise of this FCC rule has been considered by some to be a contributing factor to the rising level of party polarization in the United States. The main agenda for the doctrine was to ensure that viewers were exposed to a diversity of viewpoints. In 1969, the United States Supreme Court, the Red Lion Broadcasting Company versus FCC, held up the FCC, also, by the way, V in a lawsuit does not mean versus. The Red Lion Broadcasting Company v. FCC upheld the FCC's general right to enforce the fairness doctrine where channels were limited. However, the court did not rule that the FCC was obliged to do so. The courts reasoned that the scarcity of the broadcast spectrum, which limited the opportunity for access to the airwaves, created a need for the doctrine. The fairness doctrine is not the same as the equal time rule, which is still in place. The fairness doctrine deals with discussion of controversial issues, while the equal time rule deals only with political candidates. You love my earrings, Serge? They're pretty cool. Hey, my girlfriend bought me these. They're so awesome. There's another set of sword earrings, I think. Or I want to get, like, pentagram earrings next. Adorable outfit. Thank you, Genghis Khan. Hello, Anby. How you going? So Sean Hannity comes to mind. I think maybe Sean Hannity may be involved in this because he was around for a minute, wasn't he? Or is around. I thought he was dead. Oops. Was it him that was maybe involved with the FCC thing? No, it doesn't really look like it. What's this? Why you won't find Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson on British TV? Because they're not British. They're American personalities. Anyway. Excuse me. Reagan was a sports commentator. I remember reading as a kid he was a baseball commentator taking signal to paper baseball streams. The signal game out. Reagan pretended the batter fouled off the pitches over 20 times until the signal was restored. Oh, okay. Am I ready to Halloween? Absolutely. I'm honestly strongly considering doing a stream of Visage on Halloween week. Was it Rush Limbaugh? I don't know. Let's keep looking. We'll find out what exactly... Well, it just seems like... Here we go. It seems like it was one of those commentators. How Rush Limbaugh's rise after the gutting of the fairness doctrine led to today's highly partisan media. Here we go. This might be what we're looking for. Let's have a gander at this. And yeah, I'm super keen for Halloween, even though we're, 20 days out from it. And I don't want to deal with trick-or-treating little cunts, honestly. I don't want to deal with that shit. But Limbaugh's success after President Reagan declawed the doctrine gave rise to others and provided encouragement for Fox News' 1996 launch. Rush Limbaugh was more than a talk radio host. He was a key element in the development of the highly partisan journalism and other media that envelop us today. Fairness doctrine was something you've only heard begged for. You shall go now and rule your empire. Sounds good, Genghis. Limbaugh's talk radio program was not possible until the Federal Communications Commission relaxed the fairness doctrine. That policy, which began in 1949, was rooted in the idea that radio and TV stations were public trustees and as such should serve the entire nation and on the local level serve the communities to which they were licensed. The doctrine required them to air competing views on important issues. The idea was for broadcasters to not take sides. Well, we saw how that turned out. The Congressional Research Service, known as Congress's think tank, said fairness doctrine required that broadcasters devote a reasonable portion of broadcast time to the discussion and consideration of controversial issues of public importance, and affirmatively endeavor to make facilities available for the expression of contrasting viewpoints held by responsible elements, with respect to the controversial issues. Consequences for a failure to comply with the fairness doctrine ranged from a requirement that time be granted to unaired viewpoints to punishment as severe as a loss of license or substantial demerit in license renewal proceeding. But what about my free speech? What about news and journalism? Did news programs have to concede airtime to both sides? The Supreme Court upheld the fairness doctrine in a lawsuit called the Red Lion Broadcasting Co. Incorporated v. FCC, in which a radio station host attempted to discredit journalist Fred J. Cook. The court ruling summarized... On November 27, 1964, WGCB carried a 15-minute broadcast by the Reverend Billy James Hargis as part of a Christian Crusade series. Oh, yikes. Oh, yikes. A book by Fred J. Cook entitled Goldwater, Extremist on the Right, was discussed by Hargis, who said that Cook had been fired by a newspaper for making false charges against city officials, that Cook had then worked for a communist-affiliated publication, that he had defended Alga Hiss. These are names from, 60 years ago? What are these names? Billy James Hargis, anyway. And attacked J. Edgar Hoover and the Central Intelligence Agency, and that he had now written a book to smear and destroy Barry Goldwater. Cook demanded equal time and the station said no. Cook sued. While the lawsuit inched through the courts, the FCC began refining its fairness policies, partly in anticipation that the Supreme Court would uphold the FCC rule, which it did. In the Red Lion case, the court ruled that free speech is the right of the viewers and listeners, not the right of the broadcasters, and the court said stations should provide ample time for opposing views. Along came President Ronald Reagan, who, like other conservatives, didn't like the fairness doctrine. The feeling was that news media leaned liberal and the marketplace should determine content. With the support of the FCC Commissioner Mark S. Fowler, the Commission announced in 1987 that the government would no longer enforce the fairness doctrine. The Commission reasoned that with the rise of cable television, there were lots of viewpoints available to the public that did not exist when only print and over-the-air broadcasting were the only conduits to the public. As a matter of broadcast trivia, the repeal of the doctrine occurred after a complaint against the television station WTVH in Syracuse, New York. The FCC declined to sanction the station for a violation against the Fairness Doctrine because the agency determined that the doctrine violated the First Amendment. There you go. Watched some British films from 36-40, 2 more from the 30s in the last few weeks. They had to get UK approval, and the endings are all really propaganda. But was the enemy turned out to be the Nazis? Oh, I see. It's not the best wording. Almost overnight, the media landscape was transformed. The driving force was talk radio. In 1960, there were only 2 all-talk radio stations in America. By 1995, there were 1,130. While television news on the old networks and the cable upstart CNN still adhered to the standard of objectivity, radio emerged as a wide-open landscape. Dude, I'd love to, honestly, unironically, I'd love to work in radio just because then I could do this shit and get paid for it properly. Anyway, the public, I doubt anyone's looking for someone like me to fill that spot, though. The public readily responded to the new model Limbaugh advanced over the demise of the Fairness Doctrine. By 1994, he had an audience of 20 million Americans tuning in on some 650 stations. What Rush realizes, and what a lot of listeners don't, and Atlanta station manager explained, is that talk radio programming is entertainment, it is not journalism, which is exactly the thing that happened in that case recently-ish or whatever. Was it Fox that basically said in front of a judge, no one takes Tucker Carlson seriously because he's entertainment? That's how they get away with pushing so many fashy viewpoints onto all these different talk shows. They explain, we're just entertainers, it's just entertainment. Reminds me of Isaac Butterfield. Somebody said to me once that Butterfield said off stage, I'm not actually like I am on stage. I'm not actually like I am in my YouTube videos and wiggle my beard around a bit. He explained that all the viewpoints he expresses in those YouTube videos and his stand-up shows, it's all just entertainment. It's all just for the gag. But the reality of the situation is the person in front of you is Isaac Butterfield. And the person off the stage and off the camera is Isaac Butterfield. If you associate your name and your face and your identity with a character you're portraying, then you can't really responsibly say, oh, but I don't actually believe the things I'm saying. It doesn't work that way. You can't just say, oh, it's just entertainment when you're facilitating hateful viewpoints to a big audience and saying, oh, it's just comedy. This is why I've noticed a lot of people really fucking hate the idea of comedy. Because it's we'll get into the comedy thing shortly. We're going to talk about Chappelle because there was a video I wanted to put up on the YouTube channel shortly. Anyway, and CNN uses the same defense. Didn't work for Alex Jones. Yeah, Alex Jones is the first example of anyone who actually got cancelled, and the first example of anyone getting cancelled that it kind of maybe worked, but he still has an audience. Is the thing. He's still got money. He's still got people watching him. Figured out a way around that shit. Anyway, Dave Chappelle. Yeah, we're going to talk about Dave Chappelle. Where were we? Conservative voices had long been ignored in the mainstream media, they claimed. Oh, sweetheart. But now that the free market had been unchained, it was clear that the people want what the people wanted. Oh yeah, Assange got cancelled way before. Assange got legit cancelled. Assange got fucked. By 1995, conservatives accounted for roughly 70% of all talk radio listeners. The end of the Fairness Doctrine had drastically changed the standards of news. The Congressional Research Service recounted many broadcasters complained that the Fairness Doctrine was overly burdensome and had inhibited their ability to cover issues of public importance. Those in favor of the doctrine believed that it ensured vibrant discussion over the public airwaves. After a number of proceedings examining the effects of the Fairness Doctrine on broadcasters, you're welcome, the FCC abolished the doctrine in 1987. The FCC reasoned that increased competition in the marketplace, First Amendment concerns, and evidence that the Fairness Doctrine actually chilled speech rather than facilitating it justified abandoning the policy. Chilled? Chilled, okay. But yeah, what happened to Julian Assange is because he pissed off very important people with WikiLeaks, and that's why he's... What is he up to these days? He's still in... where is he? Sweden? I don't know. I can't recall. He's still in some kind of containment. Anyway, London prison allegedly. Okay. Need to look into that. The FCC decision didn't change the rules. The rule that requires fucking hell. Please edit. Anyway, the rule that requires broadcasters to give equal time to candidates for public office. The hell. Public office, and also for a time the provision that required stations to give equal time to subjects attacked in editorials and personal attacks. But even those remnants of the rule were repealed in 2000. The Fairness Doctrine was technically removed from the books in 2011, but had lost its teeth years before. My friend, WTMG radio host Gene Mueller, told me that under Fairness Doctrine rules, radio hosts like him were supposed to be just the hosts. The callers were the stars. Oh, interesting. But then he said everything changed. Suddenly everybody had to have a take, an angle, the nature of the beast changed. Yeah, that's still true. Suddenly everybody had to have a take. I have takes. Get over it. The nature of the beast changed. The talk show host became the star. Mueller hosts a Newswheel program on WTMJ Radio now, but said when he filled in for a talk show, and also, like, honestly, I'm strongly considering, and yes, Ziwa, you are my best take. I am at some point strongly considering the idea of having call-ins, but that would be a tricky thing that I would definitely need to vet before having people on. I don't want anyone coming onto my show and saying whatever the hell they feel like, which would be a tricky bit of business. I'd probably need some help with that. Anyway, let's continue on. Mueller hosts a news, where when he filled in for a talk show, a program director once advised him that to be successful, he should tell the public why you bring up a subject, what your take is about that subject. You have to tell people why it is important. In other words, the host was now the center of attention. Limbaugh knew that. In some ways, he invented the format in which hosts talk non-stop for hours. They pick fights with listeners and stake out political positions. That change that followed the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine not only gave voice to Rush Limbaugh, but Limbaugh's success gave rise to others and provided encouragement for Fox News' 1996 launch with Republican strategist Roger Ailes at the helm. Fox News launched with President Bill Clinton in its sights as a perfect target to relentlessly attack. Scared about call-ins, called in at least once, you were treated well. Like, I would have to, this is what I mean, like, I would have to have a moderator on call, I would have to have a voice chat in my Discord or something like that, where I would have a moderator in there to vet everyone that comes through, and I wouldn't just let anybody call in, honestly. It would definitely have to be like a very strict sort of setup. So, if I have anyone on voice chat that could potentially violate TOS while I'm on stream, I don't want to have anyone like that on. Yeah, I mean, banhammer is one thing, but if someone gets on the mic on my stream and starts screaming the N-word, I can get banned for that, so that's tricky business. Anyway, it would be incorrect to say the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine created Fox News, since Fox News is a cable company and cable TV content would not have fallen under FCC rules the way the over-the-air stations were. But Limbaugh's talk radio work created an audience and appetite for what Fox News would generate. Excuse me. Fox News and radio talk show host Sean Hannity and Limbaugh inspired a generation of conservative talk show hosts. No shit. He stayed consistent, Hannity said minutes after Limbaugh's death was announced Wednesday. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot about the existence of these assholes. At least one is dead. Thank fuck. We're talking about Fairness Doctrine and how that has in huge part led to the rampant radicalization of commentary in the media, generally speaking. Why there are so many reactionaries with talk shows and podcasts and yada yada yada. I can't get I don't know if anyone's coming on my show yet, but Ziwa can be, yes. How are you, Lurch, by the way? I do know that Breitbart got his start from Ariana Huffington. Do get neat content from call-in sometimes, though. You still laugh at Sam Cedar and libertarians debating free markets on the Majority Report. I don't know enough about free markets to make that discussion work, is the problem. I am not an educated individual. I'm a dumb fuck who pretends to know things. Anyway, I can't imagine the next... Oh, wait, wait, wait. He stayed consistent. Rush would give you a take on whatever issues of the day were that you never thought of yourself, but you always wish you did. I can't imagine the next political battle without him, Hannity said. Former VP Mike Pence said Wednesday afternoon that he was a talk radio host for a number of years and said, I was inspired by Rush Limbaugh. He reinvented AM radio, Pence said. This just sounds like it's sucking Limbaugh's dick. Since the repeal of the Fairness Doctrine and the rise of conservative talk radio, congressional Democrats have tried several times to reimpose the rule. Almost as many times, Republicans have attempted to pass legislation forbidding the rule from ever being reimposed. In the end, the Fairness Doctrine required broadcasters to decide which issues were important to the public and which points of view it should present in more or less equal measures. The FCC said it was not comfortable being involved in such decisions and wanted to leave it up to the broadcasters to decide what to air based on how the marketplace reacted. So yeah, like this part here, and yeah, free from the shackles of the Fairness Doctrine, Limbaugh thrived on partisan battles and personal attacks. The fires that he ignited and fed generated heat even in the hours after his death. The headlines played him in equal parts hated and beloved, and that's fair, I suppose, but, you know, there are certainly certain issues that are not being discussed in a fair and just manner, generally speaking. Obviously we're hearing a lot more about certain sides of an issue than others, which is... Oh, what the hell? My title's broken. Hang on. Hang on. I fixed this before. News... I forgot to fix my title. It's broken. There we go. Yeah, Smudge is running around. Gee, I wonder why. You and Abby on stream having a mass debate. Not on this fucking website, okay? Chill. Chill. And on the subject of things, on the subject of certain issues being presented in such a way that, let me think for a second. On the subject of certain issues, especially in the mainstream media, being presented in such a way that, fucking hell, give me a second to get my head around this for a second. Okay. On the subject of certain mainstream media representing certain issues, where we've obviously got the trans thing going on. That's a big discourse constantly. Doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, which would really be nice for trans people to not have to worry about defending our existence all the fucking time. But as it stands right now, you may have seen this little snippet, which I did tweet about. Dave Chappelle gets standing ovation amid Netflix special controversy. If this is what being cancelled is. I love it. Of course you do, Dave. So, you might have seen Dave Chappelle's recent special. I have not, basically, because I don't care to. I don't want to watch it, and I've heard enough about it to not want to watch it. I don't know if there's really going to be any funny jokes in it, but it really just... Honestly, based on the commentary of people both on his side and against him, it strikes me as though he's really just doubling down on this cancel culture bullshit, and I don't care if people disagree with me, I'm just saying the facts, which has always honestly been his shtick. He's always been about, you know, providing biting social commentary, but the issue is right now, he used to provide biting social commentary on racial issues, which he knew about quite personally. And now he has decided to pivot that towards transphobia, towards the trans issue. Let's call it what it is. The trans issue. The transgender issue. And that's an area that he doesn't really have specific personal interaction with. Which is, hang on, did he? Remember when Dave Chappelle was funny? Me either, did Anyway, Jim Jeffries basically made the same joke but better. What joke is that exactly, specifically? I'm saying the facts, I'm opinionated as fuck, and most of my opinions are shit. Which, yeah, honestly, realistically speaking. Which is a massive, massive pain. Because... Let me think for a sec. I have a thought here. Let me get this thought out of my head. Where were we? Hang on. Saying the facts, I'm... Like, Kez, you're not wrong. Is it like some people can do that? But again... comes back around to what I was saying before. It's like if you were to make a joke about a certain topic, it helps to be informed about that topic. Like, I find the most amusing comedians are the ones that actually have interesting things to say about a subject that are both enlightening and funny, right? It's not just... There are a lot of people who will make who build their entire career, build their entire comedy routine around targeting things that are just purely based on their observation, rather than actually understanding anything that they're talking about, you know? And this is the this is the issue with the Chappelle special, based on everything I've read. Again, I'm not going to watch it. I honestly don't have the time to bother. You know, I don't care that much about watching the special, even for the purpose of commenting on it. I've seen enough commentary on it to form my opinion. I don't give a shit if you think otherwise. So it was basically some fucking joke about white people in the USA that I forget the wording of. Basically, oh, white people, blah blah blah. Whereas Jim just said, I'm also white and I think you're a cunt. Basically, the best way to put it. Made a joke with the same idea, but hit it on the head and made it funny. As a white person, can't really make jokes about black culture, but as a gay, I can make jokes about gay culture. Precisely. And what Dave Chappelle has decided to do in this new special, based on what I've read about it, is that he has spent at least half of it, I don't know if it's like an hour or an hour and a half or 45 minutes or whatever, but according to everything I've read about it, he hits like the halfway mark and then just spends the remaining half of the special talking about trans issues in a very Dave Chappelle way. That there was a good remark I heard that honestly kind of makes me think he sees this somehow differently or somehow a justification. Basically, it comes across as though Chappelle thinks he can make jabs at the trans community because he's kind of treating them like a friend. It's like, oh yeah, I'm joking about you and your transness because like we should be able to joke about each other, right? But the problem, and yeah, Milam, go ahead and tell us what your controversial question is. The problem, of course, is that, and yeah, like obviously BIPOC people are still dealing with a ton of racial discrimination and all of that today. But the issue is he's trying to paint this as though being trans, and this is what's really bizarre, what I've heard is he's trying to paint being trans as namely a white wealthy woman issue is a thing that I'd heard. That's the first thing I heard about it, which is kind of dismissive of the entire existence of BIPOC queer people, BIPOC trans people especially, who are grossly overlooked when it comes to trans discussions. Better conversation if it was us talking and having the videos shared from people here. What do you mean? Most offensive joke involving gay people was basically saying, how would gay people get involved with you, Dad? Trying to invite you to a gay threesome because he thought it was funny, which nothing's wrong with it, I suppose. What's dismissive? I'm confused. What's going on? He makes a progressive message in an unprogressive manner in their language. What do you mean? So let's have a... Hang on. Transphobia is often sexist and targets trans women. Well, yeah. We knew that much. Read some takes from POC people that the queer community doesn't have a say against Chappelle or debate because that's the way for white people to... Yeah, and that's the complication with this particular discussion as well. Is it's honestly inflamed a whole bunch of racial tension around this. I've noticed a lot of people have brought race into the discussion here, which is a difficult thing to traverse, honestly. What I said was dismissive. I forgot what I said. Said I don't mind gay people as long as they don't get me involved. Oh, I see. Good thing there are non-white queer folks who can safely strike back at him. True. This is the problem with this thing, I think. Is like, I don't know, I feel like I tend to avoid intensely racial issues, and I don't think this is an intensely racial issue, honestly. Some people might see it that way, but I don't see this as an intensely racial issue. This is a subject of someone who's got a lot of power and influence as an individual, right? Whether you like it or not, like, yeah, obviously Dave Chappelle doesn't have white privilege, but he's got a lot of others. And one of those privileges he does have is he's got a significantly huge platform. And choosing to spend a significant portion of a massive multi-million-dollar Netflix special on making jokes at the trans community, including a segment which he, from what I can tell, and I haven't unpacked this whole segment just yet. I haven't watched it again. But what I've heard is like he's talked about how he met a trans person. That trans person then went to like social media, defended him, and something like, I don't know the full extent of the story, but like several days after that trans woman met Dave Chappelle. She took her own life, and he dedicated a significant segment of the thing to her. Maybe I should watch it for the sake of like knowing what that story is. Which just seems like a really bizarre thing to bring into the whole discussion. Anyway, he said he'll stop joking about us if we stop punching down on his people. Interesting. Yeah, everyone tends to forget that POC can be LGBTQIA+, that they can be disabled or neurodivergent, which is a convenient little bit of subversive racism in its own way. A lot of people would like to look at BIPOC folks as just that as their identity. Like, they tend to dismiss anything else, you know, which is its own form of racism. Or its own form of racial bigotry, at the very least. Racial prejudice. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with an egg that one of their reasons for not coming out is they're black and live in a black neighborhood. There's, regrettably, a lot of transphobia in BIPOC communities. This is what I've heard, at least. You weren't aware the queer community were punching down on the black community, which is it's another issue to discuss there. I, again, am not 100% informed on that one. Just seems like a weird remark to make, though. And yeah, like, obviously, call out racism, of course. But, yeah, like, just judging based on what I'm seeing from, like, what you've said, Uwu, there, honestly. He believes disagreement with him is akin to punching down, which is the same thing that we're dealing with this. If this is what being cancelled is, I love it. You know? Which is the same with anyone who believes that they are being cancelled. Hello, Prince. How you doing? Okay. Amid a swirl of controversy, let's read through this, because we might get some further details we can comment on. Amid a swirl of controversy around his new Netflix special, The Closer, I think it's The Closer, I don't think it's The Closer, Dave Chappelle took center stage Thursday night at a star-studded and sold-out show at LA's iconic Hollywood Bowl. Though the superstar comedian did not repeat any of the jokes that have been loudly rejected by members of the LGBTQ community, GLAAD, and the National Black Justice Coalition, he thumbed his nose at the notion of cancel culture while also promoting messages of kindness and love. This just sounds like an article that's sucking his dick. Okay, Chappelle shared the marquee with a screening of his untitled Dave Chappelle documentary. Blah, 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 don't care. Some were on the bill tonight, including, yeah, who cares? Anyway, then came Chappelle dressed in a suit with his wife and cigarette in hand for the main event that saw him being heralded at the mic on numerous occasions as the greatest living comic. I'm not sure what... I think I did reply to that. That's alright. Anyway. If this is what being cancelled is like, I love it, the 48-year-old said in response to the standing ovation. And that's the thing right there, isn't it? That is the thing right there. Every single motherfucker that goes on about being cancelled is getting even more of a platform. They're getting standing ovations. They're getting applause. They've got huge followings that will defend them to the death. This line and many more like it was greeted by rapturous applause from the crowd, which included a masked Brad Pitt, which, okay, masked as in like COVID mask, I assume, Tiffany Haddish, Donald Rawlings, Chuck Lorre, Sterling K. Brown, and others. At another point, he was more blunt. Fuck Twitter, fuck NBC News, ABC News, all these stupid-ass networks. I'm not talking to them, I'm talking to you. This is real life. Excuse me. But that is precisely what the LGBTQ community, and in particular trans women, have objected to after Chappelle used their real lives, bodies, and gender identity as punchlines in The Closer. Gender is a fact. Every human being in this room, and this is what's hilarious. He says this, and it's like he was trying to say this as kind of a jab at trans people, I think. But again, we've discussed the fact that there are many people who conflate sex and gender. And even then, it's a gross misunderstanding of what biological sex is and what gender is. But he says gender is a fact. It's like, well, yeah, we know, dickhead. Every human being in this room, every human being on Earth had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on Earth. Anyway, I mean, we could discuss the fact that he's just completely dismissing the fact that trans men exist, non-binary people exist, you know. But that's not the point he wants to make. He wants to treat every single individual with a vagina, and furthermore, pass through the legs. Also dismisses the existence of cesarean births. Anyway. That is a fact, he says in the special. His last string of a Netflix specials that also included Sticks and Stones, Equanimity, and The Bird Revelation. I only saw Sticks and Stones, honestly. Yeah, and C-sections, so cesarean, yeah. And then we come around to, obviously, he also sided with Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, by identifying as Team TERF, which, that was a remark that he made. A term that means trans-exclusionary radical feminist, which a lot of people are really questioning whether we should call them radical feminists. An ideology that excludes trans women as women. The special, currently number 4 on Netflix's US top 10 list of the streamer's most popular titles, also features jabs at white gays, the Me Too movement, and lesbians, among others. I don't hate gay people. I respect the shit out of you, not all of you, he says. I'm not that fond of those newer gays. Oh, here we go again. Too sensitive, too brittle. I miss the old school gays, the Stonewall gays. They didn't take shit from anybody. They had to protest so that... Is anyone familiar with this concept, right? Like when you have children, right? A lot of people have this idea of, I want to work hard to give my children a better life than I have, right? And I don't see how this can't apply here with, like, the Stonewall gays. It's like, yeah, maybe they were a bit tougher and didn't take shit from anybody because things were a lot rougher back then for gay people. They're still rough now. They're still pretty bad nowadays. But the reality is the Stonewall gays and the lesbians and the trans people and the queer people in general who existed back when the Stonewall riots were happening, they were fighting against an institution that really didn't want them to exist. They were putting every ounce of their power into that so that they could continue to exist and that future generations of queer people could continue to exist safely and comfortably in society. Right? I don't see what the problem is with there being gays of the modern era being sensitive and brittle and being allowed to actually feel comfortable with themselves for a change. Anyway, continuing on. In the few, like this stoicism, this there was a good phrase someone used. I can't remember, but basically this masculine stoic bullshit. You know, it existed out of necessity. There's less necessity now, even though there is still a ton of queerphobia out there. It's not as though people are being, at least in modern society, arrested and thrown in jail for presenting as a F slur or whatever. They're not getting actively beaten by cops in the streets on a regular basis. You know, they're not having to congregate in secret underground pubs to even meet with their community. Police brutally based on gendered clothing was the spark for the Stonewall riot. I think I know what you mean. Yeah. In the few days since The Closer was released, Chappelle has received condemnation from the NBJC, which called for the special to be pulled from the streamer. When I see the streamer, I think, you know, I know they're saying streaming service, but, you know, with 2021 on track to be the deadliest year on record for transgender people in the United States, the majority of whom are black transgender people, Netflix should know better, NBJC Executive Director David Johns said in a statement released to media. Perpetuating transphobia perpetuates violence. Netflix should immediately pull The Closer from its platform and directly apologize to the transgender community. They won't. Glad weighed in on Twitter. Dave Chappelle's brand has become synonymous with ridiculing trans people and other marginalized communities. Yeah, like, this is the thing. He's one of those in the same vein as South Park, pretty much. If we make fun of everybody, then I'm allowed to make jokes at everybody as long as I make jokes at everybody else, kind of thing. But the reality is he's not going to make fun of certain social groups. You know, the same way South Park is only making fun of certain subsects of certain social groups. The ones that make them particularly uncomfortable, the creators, the writers, and all of that. They're doing it because they, what's this you said, Draco? Let me see. Dave Chappelle can go fuck himself. Agreed. Anyway. Jacqueline Moore, a trans writer, which I think I had some interaction with her on Twitter recently. Executive producer and showrunner who spent 4 seasons on Netflix's Dear White People, took a stand on Twitter to say that she will no longer work with Netflix while the company continues to put out and profit from blatantly and dangerously transphobic content. She added, I love so many people I've worked with at Netflix, brilliant people and executives who've been collaborative and fought for important art, but I've been thrown against walls because I'm not a real woman. I've had beer bottles thrown at me. TV writer, producer, and actress Franchesca Ramsey responded to a tweet that defended the comedian by posting, "Hey, this is harmful. isn't an attempt at cancellation, nor is it possible to cancel a very wealthy and famous man for spreading transphobic bullshit in the name of comedy. Yeah. Glad you canceled Netflix years ago. Yeah, I would, but I don't actually pay for it, so I'm not going to. But anyway. Despite a strict no cell phones policy during Chappelle's Hollywood Bowl show, a video surfaced showing Wonder offering brief remarks during which he tackled those two subjects, comedy and cancel culture. Stevie Wonder. After being escorted into the lights by Chappelle, who seemed genuinely moved throughout the course of the night, Wonder said, "What we need to cancel is hate. What we need to cancel is fear, because we have to have love, and we should never cancel that. I want us to cancel the idea of feeling that we don't want anyone to laugh, because if we don't laugh, we cry. And I don't believe that was God's intention ever." I mean, this whole segment here seems like it's missing the point. I hate to say it, but, you know. Jacqueline Moore got a lot of shit after this because she's the only white writer on Dear White People. I think I remember seeing a bit of that too. I haven't watched it. I don't know if anyone else has watched it. But yeah, they totally missed the point. What we need to cancel is hate. Well, then tell Dave to stop making specials that focus so specifically on queer hatred. That's really what it is. Like, you can't just take these remarks out of context. Or you can't just take these remarks and... I mean, you can take them out of context. I don't know. You watched the first part but wasn't paying attention? Maybe I should, but I really don't want to, honestly. I don't want to give it another view, even though I know it's got millions of them at this point. I don't want to show Netflix that this is the kind of stuff that people want on the platform. Comedy having to be offensive is such a bullshit dusty take. I can see a picture of a frog in the rain with a tiny paper umbrella with the caption "frog," and I will smile. Older generations thinking that shit needs to be offensive to be funny just enjoy bullying others who are different from themselves. Exactly. It comes back around to the stoicism argument. It comes back around to the idea that you should be able to take getting punched down on. You know, you should be able to take a joke. Why can't you take a joke? Because you're not just making a joke. It's like, I can take a joke. I can laugh at jokes if they're legitimately funny. But the vast majority of time with this kind of shit, it's not... Like, there are funny jokes. A flex. Okay. There you go. There are funny jokes that can be made about trans people, but generally speaking, those jokes need to be made by trans people, or at least people who are trans adjacent, you know, trans allies and things of that nature. They can make jokes about trans people because they've got the experience of knowing those identities, knowing those experiences intimately, you know. And yeah, abuse does not equal jokes. You don't need to be mean to be funny. Dave's like, punches trans people in the knee. Why you no laugh? It's funny. Jim Norton has a great joke on fucking trans women. But yeah, this whole thing here, what we need to cancel is fear. And like, let's talk about the fact that a lot of people look at transphobia as fear. We should discuss the fact that phobia, and I posted a little thread about this on Twitter. Phobia is not explicitly like... A lot of people think phobia means an irrational fear, but it's more an irrational anxiety around a thing. And a lot of people have, yes, legitimate anxiety around trans people, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be so active in their pursuit of, like, let's just say, for example, there wouldn't be so many people so obsessed with this idea of commenting on our very existence. They wouldn't be so in favor of, pull trans kids out of school sports. They wouldn't be so in favor of, like, bathroom bills and all of this kind of shit, banning puberty blockers, etc. It's irrational anxiety that is causing people to be so obsessed with taking away bits and pieces of trans rights and making us the target of derision and all of that. You know, a take I saw recently on this kind of comedy is that these comedians see themselves as rebels, but they're really just upholding the status quo in an edgy way. Pretty much, yeah, that's exactly it. They think they're rebelling against... This is the problem. There are a lot of transphobes who genuinely look at us and think that we have some degree of power because we are the focus of a discourse at the moment. Like, they legitimately look at trans people and think we have some power because the mainstream media is talking about us, or because there's legislation being drafted around us and things of that nature. And because, like, some legislators are actually saying, oh, you know, please don't misgender and dead name people. That is abusive, you know. Transphobes. Like, this is the thing. They think they're rebelling against some system as if we hold all the cards, but we hold none of them. The cards are held by other people. And at best, what we've got to do is try to get allies in legislative positions to secure safeguarding for us. You know, we're next to nothing compared to the people who have the actual power. You know, people who are going on like Joe Rogan and stuff like that. People who have big platformed audiences. We don't have the power. Have you seen, like, you know, I look at the bigger trans accounts on Twitter and I'm like, they've got barely 80 followers, contrasted with all the people that are constantly talking on, like, constantly trashing us on Twitter. You know, there are people I've never heard of, but they've got several 100,000 followers, and they'll tweet something and they'll get like 50,000 likes on it, trashing on trans people for no reason at all. And then, like, some of the bigger accounts, they'll post a really cogent point about transphobia, couple of thousand likes, maybe. You know, it's a really difficult thing. They have the hacking power. I wish we had the hacking power. I'm a girl. Anyway. Excuse me. Saw a segment from a known comedian in my country who actually did a segment on cerebral palsy. Specifically where he talked to a handful of different people who are affected by don't call it CP, while also giving them a platform to tell their stories and struggles, while also discussing a certain slur within our language and how they felt about it, ending the segment with an official apology for having used the word in the past himself. And it made me feel hopeful for the future comedy scene in Denmark. Well, that's good. Hang on, I just need to post something on Twitter. Hey NBSP, how you going? Sorry, I just gotta like transfoobs. Anyway, let's continue. For his part, Chappelle delivered an earnest moment when he doubled down on themes so prominently displayed in the documentary. Do something nice for someone who looks nothing like you, he said during the event, which wrapped at 11 p.m. with a fireworks display, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't look like there's nothing really else in there. We've basically covered all we need to cover about the Chappelle thing. It's a lot of, I don't know, like, I don't know. I realize that Chappelle is a comedian, but I think this is one of those things, like, let's just bring up this final point and then we'll wrap it up here. Is that Chappelle quit the Chappelle Show back in, like, what, 2002, 2004, like, back in the early 2000s, because he was recording a sketch for the show, which particularly played on black stereotypes, of course, because if you've watched Chappelle's show, you would be familiar with that kind of thing. That's what he did back then. And the reason he was making that kind of material was so that people would, it was an attempt to break down racist barriers, right? An attempt to, like, sort of, and also an attempt to poke fun at the racist systems under which people still live today. But while he was recording this sketch, he saw one of the white workers on set laughing so hard at the segment being recorded. And in his mind, he, like a little light bulb went off. He was like, this person is not laughing with me, they're laughing at me. And he realized that he was perpetuating racist stereotypes by creating the content that kind of poked fun at racial stereotypes, you know? So he left. He left comedy for a good long while. Then he comes back, and one of the major themes of his newer content is poking fun at other minorities that are not him. Like, he's not gay, he's not trans, you know? And he's decided to target those minority groups and direct that same kind of negative energy towards people like us. So facilitating transphobia through this new material. Anyway, yeah, it's boomer shit. You know, it's one of those situations where it's unfortunate that, you know, someone who created such marvelous comedic art 20-something years ago, 15, 20 years ago, has now decided to just head down this cancel culture pipeline because honestly, it's profitable. He's making money. Anyway, that's about it for this segment. If you enjoyed this by any chance, because it was a bit rambly at parts there, I hope you were able to stay on board with it the entire journey. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe as you usually do. And if you want to join in on these discussions, head over to twitch.tv/AbigailBeck and I'll see you when I'm looking at you. I kissed like the top of my lip. Anyway. Dave. Why have we got a lame troll? Well, lame is kind of ableist, but anyway. As if that rich person needs even more money. That's the thing, is like the more money you make, the more money you want. That's really it. The more money you make, the more luxurious things you want to spend that money on. So they keep doing more things to make more money, and money is power. Let's be honest with ourselves. Money is power. The more money you have, the more capacity you have to network with other rich people and make more money. Anyway, I've got a spider. That's a spider. She's a tarantula, and she's out at the moment. Just here learning something. What you learning, Smoke? How you going? It's Kezzy's bedtime. Have a good one, Kez. Why is my religion so important? I don't have a religion. I'm not religious. Spider bird. Okay, unironically hook me up with that shit. Hell yes. If I can have a bird that is also a spider, dude. Hell yeah. If anyone cares, the Vikings have started attacking Britain again. Wait, what? Chat covering up the spider. You can't see my tarantula. I can do this. Hang on. You can't see her anyway. There's her enclosure, but you can't see her anyway. I'll try to get some lights or something to fix that up. But yeah, as it stands right now, not much I can do about that. About to go on a singing lesson and trying to hook you up with a funny song. Oh, enjoy your singing lesson. Gonna need to get back into making clay sculptures for me. Ooh, I would like a clay sculpture. Depends on your personality type. An extroverted sensing type will use wealth advice. An introverted thinking type will use wealth and power entirely differently. I think that's distilling it down to a very simplistic idea, honestly. That's a bit too narrow of a perspective to take. Especially given, like, excessively rich people are a minority in society. I don't want to watch any like music video kind of stuff, honestly. No. Sorry. Depends on your zodiac. Don't get me started on the zodiac sign bullshit. Or we could go back to the Zodiac Killer if we want. That was fun. I enjoyed looking into the Zodiac Killer, but maybe we could do more serial killer coverage. That'd be fun. Anyway, look at the Viking responsible. So what's he doing? What's this bloke? This just looks like what's his name? Not Chris Evans. That other guy, that Australian chef, but it's like he grew his hair out and grew a beard. Anyway, what is going on? The Earth Kingdom is weird. So what's going on with it? I don't know what's going on. He looks so sad. Pete Evans. He looks like Pete Evans. Is that Pete Evans? Why does he look related to me? He looks like Pete Evans. The Nazi chef. He looks a bit like the Nazi chef. Anyway. Techno Viking is invading the clubs. Better be. Better be. Hell yes. And
thank you for continuing your membership.
Thank you, Lydia.
You are still here, Poggers.
You are still here, Poggers. I need to move my alert box somewhere else, and so it's not on my face. Where can I put it? Thank you for the hydration, by the way. The Nazi chef. Yeah, there's a whole story there. There's a whole story. I did do a video on it a while back, but basically Pete Evans, the chef, posted a meme which was relating to COVID and vaccines, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was something, I can't remember. He posted a meme and he tagged it, an oldie but a goldie. And it was a picture of a caterpillar wearing a MAGA hat, talking to a butterfly with a black sun on its wing, right? And the caterpillar in the MAGA hat says, "You've changed," and the butterfly with the black sun says, "We're supposed to." It was very, very blatant Nazi meme. And he got dragged like crazy for it. And honestly, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, the cancelling may have actually worked here, because he kind of... a ton of companies cut ties with him after this. Not too many redeems tonight, so figured you'd get some in. Sounds good, sounds good. I'm looking submissive and breedable. I'd like to see someone fucking try me. Someone try to fucking submit and breed me, bitch. Yeah, the black sun or the Sonnenrad is a blatant Nazi symbol. You volunteer? I accept. Okay. Let's do some more... oh, actually, no. We'll come back to this story. We've done a bit of trans stuff. With the... Watsy. it's worth it. And yeah, the black sun was stolen from pagans too, which is not surprising. The Nazis stole a ton of imagery. Let's move on a little bit, and we'll come back to some more anti-trans stuff because that's always fun. Transphobia. There is an article here that is anti-trans rhetoric is rife in the British media. Little is being done to extinguish the flames. And I also kind of want to talk about Kathleen Stock a little bit later on. But first, I want to talk anti-vaxxers. Anti-vaxxers march in Montreal to support unvaccinated healthcare workers. A nurse held a sign that read, "Last year, heroes, this year, unemployed." About 15,000 people faced suspension on October 15th under a vaccine mandate. With less than a week before non-vaccinated healthcare workers faced suspension, several hundred protesters took their angry message to the streets of downtown Montreal on Saturday. The march began at the foot of the Jacques Cartier Bridge at 1 p.m. and wound its way through the downtown core before ending at Dorchester Square would that be Dorchester? I don't know. Anyway. Just before 4 p.m. among the roughly 600 people who participated, none were wearing masks. Yeah, pro-virus march, basically. And, I read this as, Worcestershire? That was how I read it. It's like, is that Dorchester? Or is it Dorchester? Is it Dorchester? Anyway, that's irrelevant. The protesters were speaking out against the forced vaccine mandate that will come into effect on October 15th, which could result in the suspension of about 15,000 healthcare workers in the province who opted not to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Well, you're a healthcare worker and the vaccine helps prevent the spread of COVID-19. And the thing is, if more people get COVID-19, those healthcare workers are going to be working round the clock even more to help people who have got COVID-19. So maybe the healthcare workers who are treating those who've got COVID-19 should be vaccinated against COVID-19, maybe. I don't know. Just thinking that might be logical. Among the protesters, Among the protesters was Sasha Kulinovic, an orderly at the CHUM's intensive care unit, who he said faces suspension because he has opted not to be vaccinated. "I have doubts, but instead of trying to alleviate our doubts, the government is just trying to scare us into getting vaccinated," said Kulinovic, wearing light blue scrubs on top and jeans. No, they're not trying to scare you. They're trying to prevent more people getting COVID because you're going to be working with vulnerable patients, dickhead. Another nurse was holding a sign that said, "Last year..." Yeah, we read that bit. The woman who works in a hospital in Joliet said she's not against the idea of vaccines, but wants to wait till the vaccine has been shown to not have harmful effects. Most healthcare workers in America are the girls from high school that bullied you. I've noticed this. There are a lot of toxic nurses. I'm just saying. Anyway, and I want to become an MD, Jesus. It's in trial mode until 2023, said the woman who didn't want to give her name. "I'm not against getting the vaccine, I just want more information." Another woman who was wearing dark blue scrubs that bore the name CISSS, Laval, said she was there in support of healthcare workers. "Everyone has the right to decide for their body." Stop doing this shit, please. My body, my choice. If something is imposed on us, it's a violation. No, it's a consequence. If you don't get vaccinated, you lose your job. Tough shit. There were signs in support of Donald Trump. Where is this again? There were signs of support of Donald Trump in Montreal. Anyway. Where were we? Including a "Make America Great Again" flag. There were also several people. This is the thing, Lydia. There were protests in fucking Melbourne a little while back in support of Donald Trump, before the Biden administration. So not even that recently, but stupid. There were several people wearing yellow Stars of David. Good God. The co-opting of pro-abortion terminology, the co-opting of Holocaust imagery. These people absolutely wish they were oppressed. Holy shit. Which symbolizes the measures taken to limit the freedom of millions of Jewish people in Europe during the Holocaust, during which 6 million died at the hands of the Nazis. This is not the first time the protesters have worn the star. A similar protest in August also had displays of the star. At the time, the Montreal Holocaust Museum took to Twitter to condemn the protesters, reminding people of the history behind the symbol. Jewish people living under the Nazis were forced to wear yellow stars for identification purposes. This symbol allowed the Nazis to target, persecute, and murder millions of Jews, the museum said. Notably, the badges facilitated the persecution of Jews by identifying them during mass arrests and later deportations. As a result, the yellow star has become a painful symbol of Jewish discrimination and the Holocaust. As they were protesting, Health Minister Christian Dubé reacted on Twitter, saying the province intends to stay with its obligation for all 330,000 healthcare workers to be vaccinated or face suspension without pay. He said important services will have to be recognized in order to make up for the shortage of workers. The only way to diminish the impacts of this is to go get vaccinated, he said. There we go. So yeah, more anti-vaxxers doing things that are not helping anyone. They're being blatantly offensive on purpose now. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you start seeing people basically treating the Holocaust as something they can mock and deride effectively. Like, that's what they're treating it as. That's how they're treating it, right? They're treating the Holocaust as something to be, what's the phrase? Like, downplayed, basically. They're downplaying the Holocaust because you don't want to get a little needle. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest the vaccines are effective. And, like, here's the thing. We have evidence of long COVID. And what we have evidence of with the vaccine is people not getting COVID or being significantly more protected against it. People are acting as though this vaccine is going to result in tons of people getting cancer or something. Or tons of people developing an even more significantly dangerous form of COVID or whatever. Like, they're really just skeptical based on, like, she didn't even have a clarification on what she was afraid of. That woman. It was like, I don't want to get the vaccine because there might be some bad effects, okay? It's been distributed to millions and millions and billions of people worldwide. You'd think we would have heard about something so far. It's so disgusting how they use the yellow Star of David. Oh, it is. Can't defend my body, my choice for abortion, but be mad when it's a vaccine. I'm sorry, it's hypocritical. There's various experts that said this doesn't work, but the ones everyone listens to are the ones who fund the party in charge right now. Current president and vice over here said they wouldn't trust it when Trump called for it to be made last year. Now they're in position, they're yelling at everyone to get it despite it being the same vaccine. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What? They think it's going to lead... They probably did literally think it's going to lead to zombies. There are so many people I have heard talk about, oh, when the zombie apocalypse happens. It's like, fucking hell, dickhead. We aren't fully vaccinated. COVID will likely survive and get worse. Exactly. Which is the thing we're worried about. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean, Skylar. Honestly, like, the thing with my body, my choice with regards to abortion, right, is that it's literally trying to defend... what would the term be? What's the... birthing people? Let's use the term birthing people to be inclusive. Birthing people's rights to choose to use their body to carry another person to term. When you say you're not going to vaccinate yourself, and yeah, the autonomy of birthing people, basically, yes. So if you take away abortion rights, my body, my choice, with regards to abortion, is saying, do not force me to give up my life to carry another person to term and then take care of them for as long as they need caring for. You know, do not force that upon birthing people. Do not force that upon those who've got wombs, who've got vaginas, who are able to birth children. However, COVID is a contagious virus which can travel from person to person, and the vaccine is proven to... Maybe it doesn't make you 100% immune to the virus, but it at the very least will protect you from it in a significant enough way that even if you get it, the symptoms are not severe. And the way this works is that, yeah, like we've mentioned, the vaccine, like, pregnancies aren't contagious. The virus is contagious. You can get COVID and pass it on to other people. So when you use the my body, my choice argument, you have to factor in the reality that if you choose not to get vaccinated and you get COVID and you give it to other people, you are responsible if those people get sick and die. That's on you, right? You decided not to get vaccinated and you might have gone near somebody vulnerable, someone immunocompromised or what have you. They catch it, they die, that's on you. Okay? So it's not bodily autonomy. It's not the same argument. Nobody can catch a pregnancy. Well, you can. Sort of. But nobody's just like, no pregnant woman is walking past you and just handing off the pregnancy. You're not catching pregnant, you know. And pregnancy has serious health risks, but the shot doesn't. Yeah. There are some health risks associated with it, but generally speaking, they're not. They're very, very tiny percentage of people are suffering serious health risks. And yeah, I think the vaccine I took, ironically, has a very tiny percentage of blood clots. That's about it. At least for the one I took. Very simple, both through a choice of what to do with your body medically. No, but see, if you get pregnant, if you get pregnant, that's only affecting your body, and you should have the choice to terminate a pregnancy, right? You should have the choice to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. And yet every vaccine has got at least a small percentage of a minor health risk. This is not news. One is a vaccine. There were reports of women having miscarriages after having this vaccine. Others with blood clotting. Excuse me. Social media has been censoring. I'd like to see evidence of this, honestly. Every 6 months is the rule of now. Yeah, I think they're doing boosters as it stands right now. Wish the anti-vaxxers would be held liable for their bullshit, especially after the preachers. But this is the thing. We did just go over the fact that there are going to be health risks associated with the vaccine. Yes, but I think the massive death toll vastly outweighs the very few people who might have serious complications from the vaccine. Do you see the problem? COVID has proven to spread rapidly, infect quickly, and kill severely or leave people with debilitating long-term symptoms. The vaccine has proven none of that. There are a few people who might be negatively affected, and those people are a very small percentage. And medical practitioners are going to do everything in their power to get those people back to normal as much as possible. You know? So, which side do you want to be on here? You want to be on the side of there's a very... I hate that I think so much about trans issues now that I immediately am making a comparison to detransitioners in my head. For example, this is the exact same argument that is made against trans people with regard to detransitioners. Transphobes have been peddling this argument that there are a group of people who detransition. And, they had the surgeries and the hormones and it destroyed their bodies. Detransitioners are like 1% of trans people. And then trans people are like 1% of the massive population or whatever it is. So you've got this incredible minority of a minority that transphobes are focusing so intently on and blowing this issue out of proportion. It's like, yeah, we want to help detrans people and make sure they can go back to a comfortable life. And yet most detrans people, the only ones we hear about are the ones that are transphobic. But I have seen many stories on social media, Reddit and so forth. There's a lot of detrans people who are like, oh yeah, I fully support the trans community. It just wasn't for me. You know? And it's the same thing. It's like there's a very, very tiny percentage of people who detransition. There's a very tiny percentage of people who get the vaccine and have serious health effects, serious health defects, serious health issues. Right? Would frequent testing for the unwilling be a good enough compromise? Even then, you need to make sure those people are routinely getting tested. 700,000 dead in the USA from COVID. Yeah, exactly. How many? I think it's like 2.4 million dead worldwide so far. And the non-transphobic ones also call themselves retransitioners. Yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. 4.55 million, sorry. Total cases worldwide, 219 million. Deaths, 4.55 million. You know. Not being nice about this many more. I've met anti-vaxxers in person who are assholes, exactly. You love my makeup. Thank you, Smelly Cat. But yeah, this is the issue. Is we are saying, let's once you're trans, you permanently have the gay touch. This is the issue with trying to focus so specifically on what's the phrase I'm looking for. Trying to focus so specifically on a minute facet of an issue. I'm trying to think of another example, another allegory we could make here. This is like with regards to medical things, right? What's another example? I don't know. It's nitpicking, honestly. It is nitpicking. It's like there's always a small chance of something going horribly wrong. And I honestly sound like Gladys or Dominic at the moment. I sound like Berejiklian or Perrottet at the moment. With the whole, oh, people are always going to die. And it's like, well, yeah. That is the reality of the situation. It's a grim thing for the Premier to say it. But the reality of the situation is no matter what we do, people are going to die. People are going to suffer really severe health effects. We can't save everyone. But at the very least, we can try to prevent as many future deaths as possible. And that is why people should get the vaccine. Excuse me. Sound like one of those wannabe spiritual gurus on Instagram. What's that? Where is this? If everyone else vaccinated pregnant people would carry their pregnancy determined to get the vaccine with lower risk, there is a far higher risk from COVID during pregnancies. Various reports in local newspapers have been about employers telling employees to not report negative effects of the vaccine so everyone can get back to work. Citation needed. I know people who've known relatives with negative side effects. Yeah, I'm just gonna need to have like citation needed again, and alcohol to wash it down. What? But yeah, again, we come back to the part of a small minority. Oh, I've got hugs redeemed. I'll take hugs. I'm just going to like... Come on. What? Do you want to be? Yeah. Oh God, my spine. Okay. There, you get to see the hugs now. Are you happy? That's what I've been doing anytime anyone redeems hugs previously. But now we're pretty out and out about it. You know, so she's out there. It's what I've been doing whenever someone redeems hugs and I go out of the room. Gay panic. Hey, girlfriend. Forgot about the hug command anyway. Yeah, and honestly, like with regards to the vaccine thing, with regards to the fear mongering around the vaccine thing, this reminds me again of the thing that happened with Abigail Shrier, and I hate the fact that I share a name with her. Cute. Thank you for redeeming nothing. With regards to Abigail Shrier taking that Reddit post and sharing it on her Twitter, and everyone calling out all the inconsistencies in it, is like, people can just like fearmonger around this vaccine and make up shit all the livelong day without proof of it, without citation. You know, with regards to the vaccine, we've got all of the science there available to us. And I'm not saying we necessarily doubt that a relative or a friend or someone you know, or you might have read a story about someone who had negative effects or what have you. I'm not saying those stories don't exist, but again, they are the incredibly small minority of people who've got the vaccine. And we cannot just try to stop the spread of the vaccine. We cannot stop the distribution of the vaccine because there are a few minority cases of people experiencing negative effects. Waiting to get the real ultimate nothing. Hey, watch this. Watch this. And yeah, honestly, Forlorn, exactly. Conspiracy theorists will always find a way to disbelieve, a reason to disbelieve. Now look, I know we cannot... I'm not trying to direct this at anybody, by the way. But we can't do a /chant fuck you. And I just want to see my chat fill with fuck you now. Or maybe fuck you Twitch for not allowing us to put swear words in chants. Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? Why can't we do a /chant that has swear words in it? I don't get this. I spelled it out as in EFF space YOU space C space, like I spelled it out. They've thought of everything. Why Twitch would you go to such an extent to put so many stupid parameters on the /chant function and then take so long to do anything about the language filters with regards to the hate rate shit? God, you're ineffective. What a terrible platform. Anyway. So much conspiracy theories spreading about the vaccine like wildfire. My mum was going on about how anyone who takes it will become infertile and die in 2 years. Exactly. It's like, it's ludicrous. Fuck you would also work. Hang on. Hell yes. Fuck you. Yeah, Twitch is racist to Australians and won't let us swear like sailors. How dare they? Listen, I hope I get infertile and die in 2 years. Fuck. That's grim, but it's a vibe. Anyway. Are they ineffective or are they run by libertarian tech bros who couldn't care less about trans people? Probs. Okay, I just, for no reason whatsoever. Mia, thank you so kindly. I'm glad you like my makeup. I'm not dressing up for Halloween. This is just how I normally look. And probably not. But I opened Twitter for just a brief moment. Just for a brief moment. And not Artie. I wouldn't have this response if it was Artie. It's our good old pal, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who's posted... An evil, radical leftist sky Satan makes women ideological puppets to wreak devastation everywhere in the name of power defeated by a woman desiring freedom, raised tough by a family whose truth redeemed them despite political contamination. Fiction or meta-truth, the Black Widow. What? Can someone check on Jordan Peterson? Is he off his meds? Also, I think my girlfriend needs another hug. You don't get to see that one. Oh, okay. What the fuck, Jordan? Jordan is just Comedy Central. What's his deal? What? Like, I know Jordan Peterson says some rambling, incoherent bullshit a lot of the time, but at least he seems to think he has a point. This is just... I don't know what this is. Let me try. Let's try again. Damn it! Didn't work. Stupid thing. Hello! It's a good Jordan! We have a good Jordan. Hello, Jordan. How's it going? How's things? I'm looking at this and my mind is breaking. I've listened to him talk before and I struggle to put it together, even after looking into the common phrases and the dog whistles he uses on a routine basis. But this is just word salad. This is honestly just like a genuine cry for help or something. I don't... Is Jordan Peterson okay? I don't know. Excuse me. Anyway. Whole thing. That feeling when listening to someone talk makes your brain go numb in the bad way. Of course he's not okay. Word salad to own the libs. How's the streams been lately, Jordan? I didn't end up getting in on... what's it called? On Generosity. I forgot that it was going to be going on and I should have put my name down for that. Oh, I didn't even get to check in on Calgar's stream the other night. Heck. Calgar came back to stream for Generosity on Saturday, and I forgot to check in because I was picking my girlfriend up from the train station. Anyway. Traditional family better than communism, also communism evil. Is that what it is? Is that what it means? Hang on. I want to check this. I want to look at this. Let me have a look. No, I don't want to tweet something. History... Show me this status again. Stream's been funded 5 hours today making a spreadsheet about television aliens. Oh, hell yes. That sounds awesome. It reads like an AI-generated tweet, doesn't it? An evil, radical, leftist Sky Satan. Who's the Sky Satan? I'm curious. What's the Sky Satan? What is even the cooldown on hugs? I'm not sure. Is Sky Satan God? No, because isn't Peterson Catholic or something? I can't recall. Or Presbyterian. I don't. What's Peterson's religion? Yeah, it's like the political discourse bot. Makes women ideological puppets to wreak devastation everywhere. So that's just basic misogyny. In the name of a power defeated by a woman desiring freedom. I feel like that's naming a certain woman. Is that a certain woman? In the name of a power defeated by a woman. Is this about how your daughter got engaged to a pro-Stalinist who claims to be possessed by a demon named Igor while you were in your voluntary Russian coma, or are you just being weird again? Did we get another hug? Is this an MCU thing? Oh, heck. Can I have one? Jordan Peterson's religion is cunt. Thank you, my love. Oh. Got this. Fuck. We got warheads. Very sour. Fuck. Anyway. That was I love warheads, but fuck. Oh, God. She's losing it. So am I. Okay. Hugs again. Raised up tough by a family whose truth redeemed them despite political contamination. The fucking knocking fucking took me out. Come on. Here we go. Oh, heck. We tried to find regular warheads, but they've only got these little, we tried to find regular warheads, but they've only got like these little like, basically almost like a Tic Tac container, with like these little ones, and they don't stay sour for very long. But anyway. Fiction or meta-truth, the Black Widow. My guy is back on drugs, you love to see. Great tweet, Mr. Peterson. Are you okay, Dr. Peterson? Hasn't been for a long time. Man, that coma did some damage. Word salad. I'm gonna put this out there. I'm just going to take a moment. And I'm not trying to be ableist. Unironically, I mean, yeah, we know Jordan Peterson says some wacky shit at times. But me, I'm from Australia, Nordic. Where are you from? This reads like a sign of schizophrenia. Like the word salad thing is a sign of schizophrenia. Those who, and it doesn't mean like they're completely catatonic or anything. It doesn't mean they're completely unreachable. But, you know, people who have schizophrenia do this word salad thing, where they're just throwing a bunch of words together into a concept that makes sense in their heads, but to everybody else, they'll be looking at you weirdly like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, like, word salad is a genuine symptom of schizophrenia. And given what we've seen happening to Jordan Peterson, would I be shocked if he came down with a schizophrenia diagnosis? Because it doesn't seem like he's doing too well, honestly. Like, we've mocked him, we've memed on him a few times, but he seems like he's just off the... I don't know. It's not word salad or schizophrenia to me, but go on. It's just the way he is. He only speaks in pretentious nonsense like most self-proclaimed gurus. I mean, that's fair too. That's a fair assumption too. Either this is very abstract, high tier of social comedy, or there is something wrong with this man and he needs help. Well, we've known there has been something wrong with him for a good while now, so, you know. It's just bad grammar summarizing an entire movie poorly in one sentence. But is his room clean? He's actually Sacha Baron Cohen. This is some high tier, high brow. I shouldn't use the term highbrow, that's racist. This is some, like, yeah, over our heads level of social commentary. The radical leftist Sky Satan is going to turn me into an ideological puppet to wreak devastation everywhere. Maybe this is a Team Rocket thing. Can you hear her? Because, like, to wreak devastation... How is highbrow racist? I might be wrong on this. I'm probably wrong on this, actually. But I believe, the terms highbrow and lowbrow were generally harken back to phrenology, the skull science, where they would illustrate that people who were of low class, low caste, had a heavier brow ridge and they were like bigger noses and I don't know, like their chin pushed back. It's a whole thing. People who are highbrow, who are haughty, high culture individuals, they had a higher brow ridge and it was sort of pushed back and more elegant, It was a whole thing back in the day. People would see, for example, going to the theatre or the opera as being highbrow, and someone making fart jokes is lowbrow. Because, the whole picture is like, look at these Neanderthals with their thick brow ridges. Stuff like that. Anyway. Remember being shown pictures of those highbrow, lowbrow in private Catholic school? Yeah. But yeah, honestly, excuse me. It is one of those phrases we use without even thinking about it. It's ingrained in the social consciousness. Karl Marx does kind of look like God. Ooh. These are what I was talking about. Extreme sour. They're only extreme sour for like a very brief time. More hugs. Hold on. Yes, we do. Stop interrupting the stream so I can show affection to my girlfriend, you assholes.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah. Okay. What if it's an opera about fart jokes? Look, I may not be the expert on fart jokes, but I would watch that. Okay. Just gonna keep eating these because they're... Watch me hurt myself. Fuck. This is hard. Okay. Let's continue. The last 3 redeems have been hugs. Give me a second. Sounds like something Mozart could write, maybe. Alright, let's change this a bit, shall we? We're gonna double up on that cooldown. Okay, enough Jordan Peterson riffing. Oh shit, he's broken. Hell yeah. Fuck. Okay. Let's do some more news. Let's do some more news. Okay. Here's a good one. Let's do something a little bit more lighthearted, I suppose. Because what have we done so far? We've done transphobia, which is always fun. We've done anti-vax bullshit, which is always fun. How about we do a little bit of entertainment news? There was something else I wanted to talk about, though, as well, and I forgot to get an article about it, but... Iconic camp horror film Hellraiser is getting a remake with trans actor Jamie Clayton as Pinhead. This is fucking cool. I love Hellraiser. I want to rewatch it. I have not seen anything with Jamie Clayton, but... this is fucking cool. Trans actor Jamie Clayton has been cast as Pinhead in an upcoming remake of the very camp, very queer horror classic Hellraiser, and fans are overjoyed. My arms? This is why I wear strappy tanks, so I can show off my shoulders and my arms. Hellraiser very quickly became a cult horror classic when it was released in 1987. The film revolves around Pinhead, the name that the creator of the series really doesn't like the name Pinhead, by the way. Oh, yo, hang on. The leader of a group of sadomasochistic beings who are unable to differentiate between pain and pleasure. Now Hellraiser is getting the reboot treatment. The new version of the film will debut on Hulu, and we'll see Sense8 star Jamie Clayton taking on the legendary role of Pinhead. I've not seen the Terrifier. We'll do the Yo-Yo in just a minute. The new adaptation will be directed by David Bruckner and will also star Odessa Aziona, Brandon Flynn, Goran Vesnijic, Drew Starkey, Adam Faison, Aofi. Hang on, how do you say that? I know how to say that. I can't remember. But there is a way to say that, and I can't remember. Heinz, Selena Lowe, and Hiam Abbas. Fans were also thrilled to learn Clive Barker, who wrote and directed the original Hellraiser, will serve as a producer on the project. They're Slaanesh cultists. Basically, yes. Aoife, that's it. Aoife, yes. Revolutionizes the story for a new generation. Bruckner said it was an honor to have Barker on board to guide them through the process of introducing a new generation to Pinhead, according to Empire. Didn't they add Pinhead to Dead by Daylight as well? I think they did. It's Eva, but with the... So Aoife, yeah. That's a cute name. I love that. Aoife. I'll try to remember that. Combined with a fearless and committed cast, including the amazing Jamie Clayton, who fully embodies the role as the Hell Priest, which is the actual name of the Cenobite. The lead Cenobite is the Hell Priest, and Barker actually doesn't like the name Pinhead. We're aiming to create a very special new chapter in the Hellraiser legacy. Barker added, having seen some of the designs from David Bruckner's new Hellraiser film, they pay homage to what the first film created, but then take it to places it's never been before. This is a Hellraiser on a scale I simply didn't expect. David and his team are steeped in the story's mythology, but what excites me is their desire to honor the original even as they revolutionize it for a new generation. Clayton confirmed she had been cast in the film by sharing a picture of herself holding the legendary Hellraiser puzzle box, and I so want one of those. Like, I really, really want a replica of the puzzle box. So cool. Damn it, the new Hellraiser film will be released exclusively on Hulu in the United States. Not been announced where the adaptation will be released in the UK and other regions. I'm going to rewatch the original. The film, of course, is not overtly queer, but there's plenty in there for LGBTQ plus audiences to get behind. I just added the Q in there. The original Hellraiser was essentially about a man who was really into S&M. No, it's a movie. Barker, who is gay, once said he based much of his creations in the film on things he had seen in S&M clubs. Speaking to The Guardian, Barker said there was an underground club called Cell Block 28 in New York that had a very hard S&M night. No drink, no drugs. They played it very straight. It was the first time I ever saw people pierced for fun. It was the first time I ever saw blood spilled. The austere atmosphere definitely informed Pinhead. Well, now he's referring to them as Pinhead. No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. It was Barker's revolutionary approach to kinky sex and the film's old-fashioned approach to camp theatrics that cemented Hellraiser's position as a queer classic. There we go. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm keen on that. And if I recall correctly, someone posted some excerpts from the original book. The original Hellraiser book, which did outline how specifically androgynous the character of the Hell Priest, i.e. Pinhead, is supposed to be. But yeah, originally Clive Barker did have some umbrage with the term Pinhead. Wasn't a fan of it. Anyway, let's do some yo-yo. Which is just this. This is just me doing a yo-yoing. I should learn some tricks on this thing, but I'm not gonna because I'm a lazy cunt. I don't want to do that. Instead, you just get to watch me do yo-yoing. Because I don't have like a tricking yo-yo. This is not a, whoa. Waste of good suffering. Not a fan of it, but I feel like there's more to that. Just to have fun, I do enjoy this. That just burned my finger. Hang on. Anyway, we've been going for about 2 hours now. So, or nearly 2 hours. Just shy of 2 hours. I need to pee. So, I might go quickly take a pee break. And, we'll come back and we'll do some more news. Some more news. Should Abby hug Ziwa some more? Probably. Yes or yes? Hang on. Let me run this poll while I go take a break. And we'll find out the results at the end of the pee break. There we go. Go wild, friends. I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away. Alright, given that the poll options available were yes and yes, I'm going to assume the answer to the poll was yes. Let me just adjust my blanket here. To wit, I did hug my GF again. Just so we're aware. Just so we're all on the same page. I thought you might like to know that. I'm going to punish myself with yet another one of these. Holy fuck, this is sour. Heck. Please tell me those are the actual poll results. Yes 6 versus yes 9. If that was true, well, it was 9-6. Okay. Same deal. Whatever. That's amazing. Anyway. Alright, we're back. Let's do some more news. Let's do some more stuff. Let's have another discussion around things. What's a topic you guys are interested in? You folks are interested in. Oh, here's one. I want to talk about this. I do play games on stream. I play them on Fridays, but I am thinking for the final week of stream, which will be from Monday the 25th until Friday the 29th. I won't stream on Halloween because it's a Sunday for me. I take Sundays off. But I'm thinking maybe for the last week of this month, I might do a full week of game streams playing Visage. We'll see how we go. I'm going to try to play Visage, I think. Because I'm really fond of, like, PT. The Silent Hills PT playable teaser. And, yeah. A TikTok. I don't want to watch a TikTok on stream, honestly. Great. Look, thank you, Riot Girl. Where are the hugs for Lonely on me? Can we get some hugs in chat for Tego? But yeah, generally speaking, Fridays are my gaming streams. And yeah, we'll do Spooky Week. And if we don't do the full playthrough of Visage, honestly, I wouldn't mind doing a bunch of different little separate horror games. Let me have a look. Because I think I've got some other horror games in my... How do I... Let's enter a tag into my stream collection. Into my... What I've got in my stream... Steam library, sorry. Steam. There's a few games in here that might count as horror. We could probably finish Little Nightmares. I haven't finished that. But yeah, I could go through and I could either do a full playthrough of Visage on that final week of October, or I could just play a bit of it and then play a different game throughout the week. I don't know. We'll see how we go. I watched as someone was gifted Visage on stream and their reaction was precious. In some lighter news, we'll probably have some SOCDEM Green Libertarian government in Germany, so we might get some social reforms. That's good. I do have that gotta look my best for my GF, absolutely. I might even just wear this tomorrow as well, because fuck it. Have I seen the YouTube channel Ordinary Things? I have not. Playable teaser. Anyway. Recently, you folks might remember a story we covered about how in New York there were protests in support of the authoritarian regime Australians were living under. But we're not, and we haven't been. We've been in lockdown, or not even lockdown, we've had restrictions due to a spike in COVID cases. And guess what? Here in New South Wales, cases are significantly down now. So those restrictions are easing off, as of today, in fact. The majority of those restrictions have eased off, and people who have had both of their vaccination shots have got significantly more access to many more places. For example, my girlfriend was able to go into Kmart today, but I wasn't. But yeah, like, those restrictions have eased. I'm getting my second shot in December, for the record. I'm not anti-vax. Duh. Doi. But this is a thing. Tyranny. US right-wingers portray nightmare vision of Australia's COVID response. This is why the protest in New York against COVID vaccine mandates. Prominent right-wing figures in the US are promoting a dystopian picture of Australia's COVID restrictions to use against domestic opponents. What is he doing? Oh, my sword's not there! My sword's not in the shop. Smudge, get down. I didn't realize I'm the sword lesbian and my sword's not there. My big stompies are though. There we go. Sword lesbian time. Let's fucking get it. Anyway. Yeah, that's how it is tier 2 when it comes to cases increasing. That's how it should be. If cases are increasing, lock shit down. Close down non-essential businesses. Send people home. Tell them to stay indoors. Tell them to social distance. Wear masks if they absolutely need to go anywhere. Yeah. Is that a cat chasing a laser? It is. Vaccines are readily available, yes. I've got my AstraZeneca vaccine and I'm getting my second shot in December because I only had my shot in the past few weeks. So, you know. Anyway, let's read through this. At a rowdy rally to protest against mask mandates in New York on Monday, some participants carried Australian flags and joined in with chants such as Save Australia. Many Australians were puzzled by what seemed a sudden, unbidden show of support, but this spectacle was the culmination of a months-long effort in conservative US media to portray Australia's coronavirus response as having brought the country to the brink of authoritarianism. Polling suggests that Australians overwhelmingly support vaccine mandates. But prominent figures on the American right have had crucial assistance from their counterparts across the Pacific in creating a dystopian image of the country, which they have wielded as a weapon in the polarized pandemic politics of the US. Say that 3 times fast. Polarized pandemic politics. Days before the New York event, Tucker Carlson devoted the opening monologue on his nightly Fox News program to the proposition that Australia looks a lot like China did at the beginning of the pandemic. And painted lockdowns in the darkest possible hues, connecting them with the 2019 Australian Federal Police raids on the ABC. This is just like Squid Games. Carlson, who is the highest rated news program on the US cable television, according to Adweek, also seized upon the use of the phrase New World Order, which was just literally Kerry Chant misspeaking. It was she misspoke, but reactionaries latched onto this like nothing else. By New South Wales Chief Health Officer Kerry Chant at a press conference. Kerry Chant. Dr. Kerry Chant. This is not the best time to put a warhead in my mouth, is it? That phrase has long been invoked by conspiracy theorists as a term for the imposition of a worldwide totalitarian government by a shadowy global elite. This is very hard to do. After Carlson played the relevant clip of Chant, he remarked, "The New World Order," she said it out loud. But Carlson did not have to make his case alone. For a local view, he interviewed the director of the Libertarian Institute for Public Affairs, Gideon Rosner, who readily agreed with Carlson's take and claimed, "I don't think it's possible to say that Australia right now is a functioning liberal democracy." Carlson's Fox News colleague Laura Ingraham has pursued the idea of an Australian dystopia even more aggressively, if anything, on the cable news channel and her conservative talk radio program. And again, she has drawn on fringe figures in Australia to lend her message authority. On Thursday, she hosted self-styled freedom lawyer Tony Nikolic, who has tried to sue Chant and the New South Wales Health Minister Brad Hazzard over mandatory vaccination. Ingram has been on the attack over Australia's pandemic response since at least August, when she interviewed Liberal National MP George Christensen after a video of his anti-lockdown parliamentary speech had been removed from Facebook for breaching the platform's COVID misinformation policy. The video of that interview, containing a lengthy excerpt of the banned speech, remains on Ingram's own Facebook page. Far-right websites join in. The usefulness of the nightmare vision of Australia can be seen in the way of the New York rally, and its dark message were boosted internationally by right-wing influencers and media. This feedback loop between Australia's fringe right and the major organs of US right-wing media has been in place throughout the pandemic, but it has become particularly intense as Australia, once a border-controlled, COVID-free oasis, has struggled with outbreaks in New South Wales and Victoria. Heidi Beerich is a co-founder of the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism, an NGO set up to combat transnational far-right extremist groups. Asked about the American far-right depictions of Australia's COVID response, Beerich wrote in an email, "We've seen more and more cases where the far-right brings up concerns, usually based in disinformation, about horrors taking place in other similar countries." She added, "This has happened a lot since the pandemic, as anti-mask and anti-vax conspiracies have thrived among the far-right, especially online." I love sour stuff too, but I really should just, not be eating these while I'm trying to talk about the news. It has also been cemented by the cross-pollination between some Sky News Australia personalities. Don't pay attention to Sky News ever, by the way. Holy shit, I went on Sky News like one time, and the first thing I was greeted with was a bunch of reactionary language. It was really fucking blatant. Anyway. And some of their Fox News counterparts in the US. When Shari Markson, a journalist with The Australian and a Sky host, went on Carlson's show in August to denounce the YouTube ban on Sky News as the most extreme cancellation of free speech imaginable. Yes, but Sky News honestly kind of feels like right-wing satire, as in a satire of right-wing opinions. It gave Carlson the opportunity to once again characterize Australia as a COVID dictatorship. The idea of Australian tyranny has spread far beyond the right-wing media bubble. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, whose state's COVID death rate is some 50 times Australia's, suggested the US should review diplomatic relations with the country, asking whether it was freer than communist China. Fuck. Further down the pecking order, I mean, don't get me wrong, things aren't great here, but holy shit. Are we freer than communist China? Further down the pecking order and even further to the right, the response to Monday's rally struck the same notes that the conservative media hosts have for months. The British anti-Islamic activist and convicted criminal Stephen Yaxley Lennon, also known as Tommy Robinson, posted wildly on right-wing social media platform Getter. There's another one? What the fuck is Getter? About the rally, and repeatedly invoked the idea that Australia had descended into authoritarianism. I swear they must just keep getting their social media platforms shut down and they just make new ones. Anyway, Robinson's posts were dutifully echoed by the likes of Milo Yiannopoulos and at least one Proud Boys chapter, with each using the only social media platform available to them, the Anything Goes messaging app Telegram, which I recently removed from my phone, which kind of sucks, honestly. Like, there was someone I was talking to, honestly, pretty early in my transition, a fellow trans person, and the only way we communicated was via Telegram. But then we just sort of stopped talking and I didn't want Telegram on my phone anymore. So that's kind of sad. I feel like an asshole now. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let me just crunch this. Get her off the web. Get a load of this. Didn't the Cold War end in 1989? It did. They still keep going on about communist China. Shu has been pushing a bunch of the Aussie authoritarian shit. Oh, God. I'm a bit sick of Shu. Where were we? The right-wing activist Andy Ngo has also plugged the anti-vaccination event without troubling to measure it against the reality of Australia's pandemic response. Their coverage was echoed by the Australian counterparts such as Avi Yemeni, who gleefully received and promoted news of the rally on Telegram. Far-right US websites have also joined in. In the past week, conspiracy-minded outlets have been describing Australia as moving towards a complete tyranny on the basis of a Victorian home quarantine trial that requires participants to send selfies to prove where they are. In the same story, Gateway pundit boss Jim Hoft claimed, "Australia is lost!" The Patriot Movement website Redoubt News warned its readers about police entering homes without a warrant, military personnel enforcing lockdown compliance. Make a right-wing social media site as a honeypot. I've unironically considered that. Maybe not making a social media site, but at least, I don't know. I've thought about feeding the alt-right just so I can make money off it. Anyway. Wait. The real goal may be discernible in the attempts to construe Australia's response as a warning about what might happen in the US and tie it to American liberals, even though no governing Democrat has introduced any comparable restrictions. The Daily Caller made it plain in a Wednesday headline asserting that Australia's COVID police state is the future Liberals secretly want. Atop an article which asserted without evidence that Australia's restrictions have been depicted by many American Liberals and corporate media outlets as a model to emulate. Bayrich, the anti-extremism researcher, said that the far-right mobilization of the idea of Australia's lockdown as America's dystopian future and the transnational collaboration around the idea shows that the far-right scene in many places comes together nowadays in ways that it couldn't before, and that's due to social media and the web, where this disinformation and conspiracy material flourishes. Australia may not be so much of an object of genuine concern for the right in America as it is a cudgel with which to beat their enemies closer to home. The Australians who help them receive, in return, a short turn in the global spotlight and an opportunity to represent their own views as majority opinion. Good night, Skylar. Have a good one. There we go. So we already sort of talked about that last week, but, worth bringing it back around again. That, the far right, of course, are just going to latch onto absolutely anything they possibly can, including my damn home country. It's not an authoritarian police state. Shut the fuck up. Never fell for her friend of the left grift to begin with, and I warned people all along. Seems like she's very much a populist, so, Anyway. Isn't Abby already a honeypot, though? Come for the sexy goth girl, stay for the superior political philosophy. I think what was being implied with the honeypot thing is make money off right-wingers and be an absolute grifter. Which, if I had enough of an audience, fuck it, why not? Let's just go down the alt-right pipeline for the money. Fuck it. I'm not serious. I'm joking. It's a joke. Although I did consider making a very obvious piss-take satirical right-wing character. But that would be effort that I would have to put in to create content based on far-right talking points. And just honestly, genuinely see what would happen. Like, would I cultivate a right-wing audience, or would I just have a bunch of lefties poking fun at the character? Which would be the point, Anyway, do I have any advice for someone who's lazy and can't get themselves to do stuff? No. I'm fucking terrible at this shit. Contra already did that with Tiffany Tumbles. I meant like as a recurring character thing. Like I'd start a YouTube channel or even a Twitch stream where I would be in character, but there would be, again, a lot of effort involved in making that work. But yeah, I guess Uwu's got the right idea here. Find something you care about and come up with solutions to problems you care about, yeah. Just wanted an excuse to compliment me. True. Ian N. Drivel's long lost cousin. Wait, which one was Ian N. Drivel? Was that Philosophy Tube? No, I get it. I get it, boob. It's alright. But yeah, like the point I was thinking was like, let's make some kind of character that takes the piss out of right wingers. It's maybe like a Twitter personality or or yeah, like it could be a YouTube thing, a TikTok thing even. I don't know. Something I could milk. But yeah, effort. Energy. Wonder what would happen if you made lefty points using right-wing language. Natalie did it. People keep comparing me to ContraPoints like it's a negative thing, though. Somebody said, why did you steal ContraPoints as content? And I'm like, I make my own content, but I'm very open about the fact that my video essays are heavily inspired by ContraPoints in terms of the artistic style. Whether or not I agree with her philosophically. It's kind of a, neither here nor there thing. Thank you for the hydration. Was Philosophy Tube? I believe the character's retired now. Yeah, I think that was pre-transition Abby Thorne. Something bad if they compare you to the ContraPoints tweet. True. I should stop eating these. I should stop eating these sour warheads. I'm going to end up blah. Hey, go fuck. Oh my god. Okay. And yeah, I know ContraPoints didn't invent whatsy. Didn't invent bisexual lighting, that's true. Alright, let's get rid of this particular segment. I'm just getting rid of stories I've already covered. Can get rid of this one. Get rid of this one. She played a man recently, did she? That's interesting. I wonder how she feels about that with regards to dysphoria and such. Because she is an actress, and this is the same thing with Elliot Page. Elliot Page, who is playing a female character on that show that escapes me at the moment. I can't think of what it is. But yeah, Elliot Page is still playing the same character. Umbrella Academy, that's it, yeah. I don't know what they plan on doing with that. I suppose as a professional actor, they just sort of do it. Don't know. If anyone asks, I as a bisexual have cleared Abby to use bisexual lighting. Yeah. I still can't get over the fact that one time a transphobe on Twitter decided to drag me for having the quote, a bisexual's wet dream in my bio, when it was literally a bisexual friend of mine that said that to me. Ooh, I love a bit. I'd love to put a bit of your Milky Bar in my mouth.
Fuck you.
Was that bad? What Draco said. This is lewd. This is I mean, it's like 11:13 p.m. So, if you weren't expecting this to be, you know, adults only kind of conversation, I don't know what to tell you. I am a bisexual's wet dream. Excuse me. I have a tendency to embrace my androgyny quite a bit. Anywho. Philosophy Tube's content is too heady for its own good. Yeah, I'm confused by what you mean by heady, but I think I know what you mean. And I haven't watched the new one, Islamophobia, an analysis, but based on some comments I've read, there were a lot of people who were disappointed with it because it didn't really say anything, so to speak. I don't know what that really means in the grand scheme of things. And I do find that when I watch Philosophy Tube, a lot of the time I do end up losing my train of thought. Maybe I just can't really focus on the points she's making. But there are certain bits of information where she'll have like a segment and she'll outline her points expertly and I understand every single thing. It's called Philosophy Tube. Yeah, true. That is the point. That is kind of the point, I suppose. And I mean, yeah, that's also the thing, is like there are better videos and worse videos. Not everything's going to be a banger. Not everything's absolutely going to slap it out of the park. Excuse me. Which is true of my content as well. True of anyone's content. I think there are a lot of people who think that their favorite creator should constantly be improving and improving and improving. And the reality is, like, no matter what you do as a content creator, you're going to get like up and you're going to get... Some of your content's going to like decrease in quality and some of it's going to peak in quality, and it's all a learning process. Nobody can constantly be churning out masterpieces, you know. Excuse me. You do like PT, but you think Contra is more accessible. Yeah, that's understandable. You think Abigail's going for a more advanced version of what Natalie does, which that could be true. Yeah, I can see that. Content haven't even slapped in the park yet. Yeah. What? I think you and I share the same energy, but on opposite sides of the spectrum. I'm a trans guy, and it's first after coming out and being on T for a year that I've started embracing my femininity, and I gotta say I love how confused people get who are attracted to me. Advanced is the questionable word there. Natalie's definitely funnier. Yeah, I think Philosophy Tube has definitely made a few jokes where I'm just like, I can see why you think it's funny, but it's kind of cringy, which sucks. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, haha, yeah, I get it, cute. Whereas Natalie's jokes generally make me laugh out loud. Like my content, but frequently miss my lives because of college. Well, that sucks. That's no good. I understand, though. I totally get why, because, you know, we have a bit of an international audience here, which makes it complicated sometimes for everybody to tune in. And that may even become worse if I decide to go back to study. I don't know. I kind of want to go back to study at some point. But I'm not sure. I don't want to go back to my social science degree. I want to just completely drop that degree and start over. You know a guy like that? He's a trans man, but he embraces femininity while maintaining identity as a man. Exactly. Excuse me. Like, one of the most masculine things I do almost daily is like lift. I'm a weightlifter, and I know there are plenty of cis women who lift weights as well. It's not explicitly a masculine thing, but generally speaking, a lot of people associate weightlifting and muscle gain with men, manly, masculine men. And I'm not a man. I'm a woman, but I still like to lift. You know, my shoulders look really good lately, actually. Like, look at this. Fuck, dude. Iffy about shouting him out, though. His Twitch username has a term a lot of trans folks don't like. Oh. Don't think Abigail tries to be funny as much, but her jokes can feel a little forced sometimes. Think her production values are top notch, though. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Her production value is through the roof. Don't go to college, Abby. I heard colleges turn you trans. Oh, fuck. I don't want to get transed again. Would that work? How does that work? I don't know. What? I think that's what I struggle with working out. I associate it so strongly with masculinity. I've nearly gone down the road of completely dropping my weightlifting routine in favor of cardio and just stretching or yoga or something like that. Something that doesn't build muscle so much. And the thing that kind of gets me about that is I just genuinely enjoy lifting. It's become such a part of my life that I can't picture dropping it. I wish I had more money to go back to the gym. I've just cancelled my gym membership because I've got a routine that works for me at home, which is really good. Did think the one where she kidnapped Ben Shapiro and stole his kidneys was pretty funny, though. What? When did that happen? Need to burn fat and you have zero athletic energy. That is the problem, actually. That is one of the issues that a lot of people who are, especially overweight people, have. And underweight people as well. Like, generally speaking, if you don't already have athletic ability, it's hard to get involved in athletic ability, especially if you have never really participated in it before, or even if you've been involved in it and then dropped it. It's hard to get back into that habit. Because, like, you'll lose, like, you won't have as much endurance as anyone who has been heavily involved in exercise for a long period of time. It's hard to motivate yourself to start working out if your body's not already adjusted to it. So, you know. Well, there's Babbling Goat. Point you at another transmit. We love Babbling Goat. Babbling Goat's awesome. This is why kids should be forced to play a sport until they're 13. That's an idea. It's a good idea to be involved in an exercise routine, but if you are the kind of person who's never really been particularly athletic, starting that regimen and seeing the limits of your body, which are going to be probably pretty early on, like you might try to jog or walk or whatever, and you'll find yourself in like not making much progress early on. It'll demotivate you. Hello, Hecklin. It's sports! ! Sports. That one. How are you, Heck? Sergeant Pepper does similar content. There we go. Do I follow him? I don't know if I follow him. I think, yeah, I do. Okay, I do. Okay. I was going to say, this guy looks familiar. I was like, yeah. But yeah, even trying is something, yeah. Like, it's the whole situation of, like, if you want to do it, if you want to start working out, if you want to start, excuse me, if you want to start a fitness routine, all you can do is start. All you can do is just, like, kick things off and hope that you stick with it. And condition yourself to build the habit, you know. But the problem there is, if you find it's not a priority for you, then it's not a priority for you. It's not something you need to do, you know. Phantom Through River by Jack. We love Jack. Jack's awesome. Jack got Partner recently, which I'm so jealous of. What if they don't like sports? What if they like ballet and dance instead? I don't know. Dunning-Kruger is kind of built into exercise when you think of it. Remind me what Dunning-Kruger is. I've forgotten. Let me look at it. I've forgotten. Dunning-Kruger effect is a type of cognitive bias in which people believe that they are smarter and more capable than they really are. Essentially, low ability people do not possess the skills that are needed to recognize their own incompetence. Ballet counts as a sport. Just want my kids to be doing something physical. You can get them involved in physical stuff. You know, I've been trying to get my kids more involved in getting outside and running around and doing some actual fitnessy stuff. I just want them to get involved in things that they are interested in. Whatever kind of sports they are interested in. Yeah, like you've said, Clara. So Steven Crowder, basically. It's a hypothetical cognitive bias stating that people with low ability at a task overestimate their own ability, and that people with high ability at a task underestimate their own ability. The bias results from an internal illusion in people of low ability and from an external misperception of people of high ability. That is, the miscalibration of the incompetent stems from an error about the self, whereas the miscalibration of the highly competent stems from an error about others. It is related to the cognitive bias of illusory superiority and comes from people's inability to recognize their lack of ability. Without the self-awareness of metacognition, people cannot objectively evaluate their level of competence. I see. You used to do loads until you were 11 and your back, shoulder, and ribs got really bad. Oh, that sucks. Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to figure out, I suppose I can understand how this would factor into fitness. I am curious about the specificity you're going for, though. Yeah, I could talk about fitness for a while, though. But I don't know what specifics you'd want to discuss. I'm okay to talk about, like, the sports thing. Keep in mind, I'm not an athlete. I'm just a person who jogs and lifts weights. That's it. I don't compete in anything. It's like what Abby was saying, though, getting your body acclimated to being physical when you're young is the best way to ensure their adult body will have the development to do. And it's all about building habits, too. Like, if you get kids involved in whatever it is when they're very young, it's likely that they'll stick with that as they grow older, even through their rebellious phases, generally speaking. Of course, there are other factors that can break habits. Depression is a notable example. But when you get involved in certain activities as a child and start practicing them routinely, that habit has a high tendency of being consistent through to adulthood. So playing an instrument, for example. I've been playing my guitar again recently, which I have not played for a while. And I wasn't playing any instruments when I was a kid. I wish I had been conditioned into playing an instrument when I was a child. And maybe I should get my daughter to pick that one up and give it a crack. Although it's a bit big for her. It's an adult-sized guitar and she's 9, so I don't know. On the topics of experts overestimating the average person. Average familiarity. Okay. Silicate chemistry is second nature to us geochemists, so that it's easy to forget that the average person probably only knows the formulas for olivine and 1 or 2 feldspars. And quartz, of course. Feldspar. Even when they're trying to compensate for it, experts in anything wildly overestimate the average person's familiarity with their field. And how could anyone consider themselves a well-rounded adult without a basic understanding of silicate geochemistry? Silicates are everywhere. It's hard to throw a rock without throwing one. Fucking hell. XQC, what is it? XKCD, not XQC. Not XQC, XKCD. Goes way over my head sometimes, but also does so in such a way that you understand exactly what's being said. It's marvelous. Honestly, the only genius webcomic in existence is XKCD. I'm exaggerating, of course. I haven't read every single webcomic, nor do I intend to. Got tiny hands, so playing the piano/guitar is impossible, and I just don't like competition, so that sucks. If someone you follow starts exclusively doing a specific variety of content you don't like, is it wrong to unfollow them? And as a follow-up, does someone who's live see unfollows? Hopefully they don't see unfollows, because that's really fucking weird. But if you follow someone and they start doing a type of content you don't like, I don't see the problem with unfollowing them generally. This is how you think about psychology now with your college course. It seems second nature. Yeah. Honestly, this is the issue. Well, not the issue. This is just a factor of learning in general. When you learn any number of different things, more advanced stuff might seem a bit more arbitrary, but as you begin to learn things and you begin to take that information into your brain, a lot of it kind of just seems logical. A lot of it's just like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. Provided it's information that you already have a sort of connection to, I suppose. I think that's the main thing. Good night, Fox. Have a good one. I have a few guitars and a bass when I was a teenager, and I stopped playing them a long time ago. So they're just laying by my wall and haunt me now. Oh, that sucks. Oos. There's that for you, Prince. Meanwhile, I never had interest in music as a kid and make interesting music now as an adult. Well, that's something. That's something. Did judo from 6 to 17, but then depression and the fact that we moved made that a bit harder. Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing can really have a huge impact on a kid. Did kung fu from 13 to 20, but stopped when I trans because I don't feel comfortable in those spaces now. Understandable. When you learn so much, it's hard to remember that you learned it in the first place. Yes, exactly. You know, when you start taking in a ton of information, a lot of the old information that you did have to learn in the first place, yeah, you start to think, well, everyone must know this, duh. Still listen to a lot of music, have an interest in music, have no confidence in learning how to play. And, I mean, I understand where you're coming from too, Prince. Like, getting depressed after you couldn't do things, that's basically what led to me having a pretty significant depression when I was a teenager. I was dealing with the fact that there were a lot of things that I wanted to do, but I couldn't. And I just felt really, really hopeless about it. And as much as I wanted to strive for it, like, honestly, same with the fitness thing. A lot of people do end up getting depressed about the fact that, quite frankly, we are thrown very fit, idealized bodies in our faces day in, day out in mainstream media, in advertising and all of that. And I think a lot of people do get down and depressed and end up neglecting their health and physical fitness because of the fact that they look at those really unreasonably unattainable bodies. And as a result, they feel no motivation to chase that kind of thing. And of course, there's no reason for them to do so. There's no reason you should feel compelled to pursue health and fitness purely for aesthetic reasons, or for any reason, unless it's something you genuinely want to do. There's no reason that we should demonize a person for not having those kind of ideal bodies, because that's just a ridiculous notion that only ends up harming people. But yeah. Want to learn guitar, drums, and relearn piano, but worry you're too old. And this is the thing, is like, realistically, you're never too old, unless you're literally incapable of doing these things. Incapable. Uncapable! That's a word. Incapable of doing these things. Maybe picking one will make it more approachable. Yeah, I think that would be the case. You know, if you could start with one, build your way up to others. Currently barely doing things due to a peak in my anxiety lately. That's unfortunate, Tago. I'm so sorry. I wanted to return to drawing for such a long time that it feels impossible to start, but I've used that time to build on concepts and ideas in my mind so they are more polished for when I finally go back to drawing. That's good. At least you're getting a start on it. I've been going back to writing recently. A little bit. I'm writing notes for a story that I want to start actually properly writing. I'm currently writing notes for a prologue, and then I'm going to write the whole thing out. But I also want to motivate myself to do my next big video, which is due in 20 days, so I got to get started on that shit. Got to jot my notes down, write the video essay script, and then actually record it, edit it, and get it up on the 31st. Fingers crossed. But also, you know, I am also feeling a weird spike of motivation in picking my guitar up again, writing fiction again, and, you know, finding the fact that I'm able to exercise at home, or generally at home, without needing to go to a gym is quite good. The fact that I have the motivation to do that kind of stuff without having to pay for a gym membership is really cool, because previously what got me into working out was having a gym membership and going there in the first place. So I started going because I felt I had a compulsion to, because I was paying the bill for the thing, and now I got into the routine of working out 6 days a week. I don't want to break that routine. I enjoy it too much. So does a virtuoso give other musicians unrealistic standards like a super hot supermodel does for women? Arguably, yes. Any kind of expert in any field, any kind of savant, I suppose, in any of those kind of fields. That's probably not the right word for it, but generally speaking, someone who is the peak of the peak will, yeah, generally speaking, set unrealistic standards for anyone else who wants to go into whatever thing. So music, if you see your favorite rock star shredding an unreasonable solo, you might look at that and think, I'll never be able to play like that, and you'll feel demotivated. But how are you ever going to know if you don't try, really? Watching Twitch is a good way to cope, though. Well, fair. Twitch is nothing but coping for me, honestly. Another thing you're doing is learning Russian, both because I want to, but also because so that I can surprise my mother and the Russian friends of the family. One guy who I consider a brother can speak Russian, and I would love to be able to speak it with him whenever we go out somewhere. That'd be cool. Yeah, this is very similar to a lot of trans experiences, honestly. Like you look at some of the most notable trans celebrities, so to speak, whether those be like YouTube celebs or actual like notable actors or singers or whatever. There are a few of them. They're out there. There's the minority, but they're out there. But, you know, the big example for me is like YouTubers. You got ContraPoints. You've got Steph Sanyati is a big one for me personally. Samantha Lux. You look at these, like, particularly for someone like me as a trans woman. I look at other trans women and I'm like, holy shit, they're unreasonably hot. I'll never be able to aspire to looking as good as they do. I'll never be able to aspire to being as good at what they do. Never, you know what I mean. I'll never be at their level. So you end up, funnily enough, ContraPoints did a very good video on this very topic called Envy, discussing this particular thing. We look at those like us, so other trans women in my circumstance, and we say to ourselves, I'll never be that good, so why try? And it's hard to push past that point. And I do this with fitness, what are they called? Fitness influencers. So I follow a bunch of women, namely cis women as far as I'm aware, but a few trans women as well, who are like fitness enthusiasts. And they are cut to the bone. They're ripped. They've got like really lean muscles. They've got jacked 8-pack abs. And I'm like, I want to look like that, but I am not really responsible with my diet. Oh, we're just talking about like I suppose we're generally speaking, Lydia, we're talking about envy. We're talking about the idea, or not necessarily envy, but perhaps like whatever that sensation is of looking at someone who is the peak of whatever it is we are either interested in doing or a facet of ourselves, facet of our identities. We look at those who are like us, but they are like further along or they're better at it or whatever our perception is. And that can demotivate us from pursuing whatever it is that we want to do. Demotivate us from... What are you doing? Anyway. Twitch is really fighting you. Why is that furious, James? Guru is probably not the right word. I'm not really putting myself down, necessarily. Don't even want to be thin. I just want to not be as overweight as I am now, and I'm happy being thick and think I look fucking good at it. Well, I'm glad you've got that at least. More yo-yo. Looked at the trans men on YouTube, particularly Ty Turner, and gosh damn, I want to look like him so bad. He's got a full beard and everything, and I'm hoping so bad that I can get something close to it. Cis men on both sides of my family can grow full beards and mustaches, and I want to match. That's understandable, yeah. No, you got a bunch of scruff on your chin and upper lip, so you're getting there. You are getting there. You are getting there. Comparing myself to other trans women is why I have brain runs. That's understandable. That is understandable. My yo-yo is still fucky. Hang on. And that's the thing, right? Is that competitive thought process that we all go through, where we look at ourselves through the lens of others, is entirely intentional in the current society in which we live. That's entirely by design. This is society's design. We are expected to look at others who share aspects of ourselves. So, for me, trans women, or me, fitness enthusiasts, for me, in some ways, guitarists, kind of, but I'm not really huge into music. I just enjoy playing my guitar sometimes. You look at those who are like you, but better than you. And that's supposed to either motivate you to keep going and become better at it, or it's supposed to demotivate you and crush your dreams so you give up on whatever it is you want to do and go be a cog in the machine at Walmart or whatever. It's intentional. It's hard to admit it to yourselves, but it's the purpose of the society in which we live. No such thing as individually existing anymore. You always exist as a kind of person instead of as just a person. Well, I don't know if I'd get that far, but I think there is an element to that idea that rings true. Smudge. What you doing, darling? Trying to get that to come back up. There we go. I'm a person. Well, I'm something on the internet that you're watching right now. Doing a yo-yo. That's what I am. Ugh. Well, yeah, not to marketing. True. That's a good point. Yo-yo and a cat. Can we get some yo-yos and cats in chat? Come up here. Come on, Smudge. What you doing? He's not doing nothing. Yo-yo's our pog. Yo-yo cat, that'll do. Yo-yo cat. Oh, heck. Henry Rollins quote you like about the secret to making it as an artist is tenacity, not talent. Yes. That's honestly it. It's, yeah. Well, I mean, there is an aspect of talent, obviously. But, I don't know. I don't know. Like, yes, that idea rings true. Well, I was going to bring this up, Clara, actually, is, yeah, the real secret to making it as an artist or making it as anyone in a lot of areas is having rich parents. A lot of people do genuinely overlook the influence that having people before you who were successful can have on the modern day, on the modern self. You know, a lot of people like to dismiss this idea of inherited privilege, inherited wealth or whatever it is. Like, if you've got a significant enough income in your family, if you've got significant enough wealth in your family to make you comfortable in the first place, that's rule number one. So you've got comfort. And then the next step after that is having enough wealth that your family can cover if you decide to go to university. You'll always have a roof over your head and you'll be fed and you'll have any essentials you need and anything else, and you can live comfortably while you're going through tuition. That might take you down a really, what's the phrase? A really affluent career pathway or anything of that nature. Or if you decide to pursue an artistic career, if you decide to pursue fashion or music or painting or graphic design, game design, and anything, any of those kind of artistic endeavors, if you have wealth behind you, that's such a huge step forward to making those things easier, because then everything else is taken care of. You don't have to worry about much. You get the opportunity to treat that thing you're passionate about as the one thing you need to worry about. You know, there are people who've got people working for them, so they don't need to prepare meals, or maybe they make enough money that they can just eat takeaway every night if they feel like it, or whatever the other option is. Like if they want to do laundry, there's someone who takes care of their laundry for them. Washing the car, they don't wash their own car. Their car gets serviced all the time, or whatever else there is. What else is there? Childcare, for example. You know, if there are other children in the family, they are often taken care of, like au pairs and things like that. Or mummies, nannies, not mummies. There's no like old Egyptian pharaohs roaming around taking care of kids. Sorry, nannies, not mummies. It's late. I'm tired. My words are being garbled. I'm turning into Jordan Peterson. Having connections obviously helps, but I mentioned Henry because he was part of a music scene that didn't really care about technical ability that much. Yeah, he was a big punk guy. For every $10,000 in additional income a family makes per year, there's a 2% increase in the chances that a child of that family will go on to identify their profession in the census as an artist, actor, musician, author, or similar creative professional. Exactly. So, yeah. Wanted to go to a 3-month educational school stay where I could take a painting course, and the whole thing would end with us going to New York. Had to search for funds? Excuse me, from the school itself and my commune to be able to go. It sucked a lot of money out of my bank account, but I never regretted it. I wish I had money in my bank account to suck out of it. Anyway. These pink and blue colors are nice. Yeah, they are, Prize. How's it going? Abby just wants a mummy. I kind of do. I need mummy vibes. Mommy, take care of me. My dad emotionally neglected me. Currently has no future prospects. My dad, that boy. Deposited $999,999. God, I wish. That'd be fucking awesome. It's alright. I've got someone who can treat me like a caring, loving mummy. and she cuddles me and stuff. That's all I need. But like I was thinking about this recently with regards to the fact that I want to pursue pathology again. Basically, I want to cut bodies open for a living. And that's like 13 years of medical school. I could become an MD in 4 years or 5 years, arguably. But yeah, given I want to do autopsies, I probably wouldn't be able to do them till I'm 45. But you know, I've been looking at the pathway to pathology recently, and it's a long and arduous process that would probably suck all of my time and energy away, and like at least some facet of what I'm doing now with regards to content creation would suffer, whether that be streams, whether that be YouTube videos, whether that be social media, anything that I do off Twitch generally would probably suffer. And even then, and like the problem there becomes, I would like to study and I would like to head down that pathway, but it's also like the issue with this problem is that I live alone. I'm a part-time parent. I have to do all my own housework. I have to buy my own groceries, prepare my own meals, take care of other necessities like bills and my car and yada yada yada. Like there's a whole lot of other shit that I have to do that's taking away so much of my time, even before getting into doing Twitch, doing YouTube, trying to write creatively, which is the thing I want, trying to play guitar, and other things going on in my life. Just generally speaking, having a relationship, there's so much there that looking at the idea of getting that little MD at the end of my name and changing my what's the thing called? My title, changing my title to doctor. It's a massive life commitment. It's something where I'm just like, if I try to do this, I don't think I reasonably can actually do this. Given there's so much else in the way that needs to be taken care of first. Yeah. Which honestly harkens back to, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this. This is honestly a little bit frustrating as someone who is always felt the pressure to be the best I can possibly be, but never feeling like I've had the capacity to do so. When I was a kid, my mother and like my aunties and other people would make jokes about how when I grow up and I become a famous actor or writer or such and such, putting a lot of pressure on a young child to be incredibly successful before they can even conceptualize all that goes into that. And in the same way, like I'd always liked the idea of going into some field that dealt with the body, like medically, because I was always fascinated with anatomy as a kid. So yeah, like putting that, like, I'm pretty sure the doctor thing came up as well. When you grow up and you become a famous doctor and you take care of me, I get that it's like a thing that, generally speaking, is probably a joke. That does put expectations in the child's mind that resonate throughout their life, especially once they realize how unreasonable it is to reach those expectations and how much of yourself you would need to throw away in order to pursue that path, which is honestly rather daunting. Anyway, prepare to be misgendered by all your patients, though, and although in pathology you have none. Well, yeah, I would be doing pathology with the explicit purpose of testing for viruses and checking what a person died of. I want to be cutting open corpses. I don't want to be dealing with patients. Never realized I was in a poorer demographic until I was older and sat at a table talking about where we would go on vacations. I read that as vaccinations. With family as kids, I would either stay or go by a car trip to whatever country was closest to do in 2 weeks, usually staying in places where we already knew people, as we never stayed in hotels. Being a doctor is so overrated, but there'd be a lot of money in it is the thing. And I want to cut open bodies. Legit. Something I've always wanted. Hope the government doesn't shut down. Under what circumstance would the government shut down, though? I'm curious. If you have something you'd like to do, you just do it. I wish it were that easy. And there are a lot of things I would love to do, like cardio. I like doing cardio. I know, I'm one of those horrible people. I really like doing my cardio, but it's really rainy at the moment, which means I don't have a treadmill in my house or a bike, or a stationary bike, I mean. So I can't really do my cardio as effectively as I have been recently. It sucks. Anyway, should become a full-time marathon runner. I mean, that's another thing, though, is dedicating yourself to becoming a marathon runner is another privilege afforded to those who have the time to do so. So if I were to become a full-time marathon runner, I would need to have all of my meals prepped for me, for example. Like, one of the reasons I haven't been able to get to the ideal physique I want is because I haven't been able to afford, like, say, healthy meal plans, and haven't been able to afford the time and energy to meal prep all of those things myself, you know. Running in the rain, quickest way to hate cardio. I mean, I did a bit of a walk and jog today in light rain, not super heavy rain, which was a little annoying, but it wasn't too bad. Anywho, kids sometimes attach more value to that kind of comment than parents expect. Exactly. It's putting a lot of pressure on the kid. And when you put that much pressure on a child, you can expect that when the child can't fulfill those expectations when they grow older, because that's how kids develop dreams. That's how kids develop passions. You tell them, above all else, they can do whatever they want, and you put this expectation in their head that they can become whatever they want when they're grown up. And that, like I mentioned before with the idea of building habits, you know, you start building habits when you're a child, or honestly, coming back around to the indoctrination thing, the reason there are so many reactionaries and fascists these days is because, or even just hardcore religious types of people, is because those ideas are being implanted in children when they're very young, and they latch onto those ideas, and it's hard to break away from those ideas. Like, it's pouring and even a moderate jog. I want to get into more jogging, honestly. Jogging is quite good. But anyway, maybe you're just clumsy. I mean, maybe, but that's not your fault, honestly. Not like you can control if you're clumsy, really. I was a fast dreamer as a kid. I wanted to do it all, and now I don't want to do any of it, which is both funny but also sad. I can understand that. Meal prepping looks pretty exhausting. That's because it is. You rarely have dinner plans more than 3 days ahead, and when you're running a one-person household, stuff can go bad. Yeah, that's another thing I'm dealing with recently, is like there's yogurt I buy. There's Greek yogurt I buy. And I'm looking at the serving size I'm using means that by the time I get to day 5, I'll have consumed half of it, and the other half will have to be thrown out. Well, if my milk is going bad, that's because I generally don't drink milk all that much. I mainly have it in coffee, or my kids have it with cereal. That's about it. With the Democrats and Republicans coming to an agreement about the debt, I'm not clued in on that particular subject, to be honest. I haven't been reading about that. I think I read something about the American debt recently, but I didn't read up completely on it. I make my own milk, yeah. Mommy, milky. Smaller milk bottles. At the moment, I get... well, here's the funny story. I've got about 10 or 11 1-liter long life milk cartons sitting on top of my kitchen pantry because my mother bought so much long life milk that it was just sitting in the pantry that she wasn't going through. She wasn't drinking it. So I've got all this long life milk just sitting there, which will last through until like next year or the year after, or however long life milk lasts. But it's just like, I don't need to buy milk for the foreseeable future, at the very least. But yeah, generally speaking, some of it does end up getting tossed out. I think the milk in the fridge I have now needs to be tossed out because it's like 5 days since I opened it. So it's going to go bad soon. You know, you love my look tonight? Thank you, Ren. How you doing? We use lactose-free milk, which lasts longer than regular milk. Oh, okay. Can't drink milk anymore after you caught COVID. Oh, that's no good. Maybe now you can focus on slimming instead of building muscle. That's true. I used to drink light milk with my protein powder because I was trying to bulk. So I would drink light milk, which had a higher protein content, lower fat content, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, which was good for gaining, but I don't want to gain anymore. I want to cut as much as I can, but I'm not doing very good at that. Anyway, long life milk is delicious milk. It is. It's quite nice. Don't tell my vegan friends I still drink milk or like dairy products or meat. I'm not a vegan. I'll argue in favor of their ideas though. Yes, I drink meat. I love to chug on some meat. Drink milk and meat, yes. Drink both, yes. You put the meat into like a food processor and grind it down. You mix the milk in. Fuck. Caveman GRS. Love to chug on some meat. I know my Tinder bio. Love gulping down some meat. What have I started? Fucking hell. Big glass of... Big glass of meat in the morning. Fuck yeah. This is a Joe Rogan diet. Top Gear taught me that you can put milk, meat, and a brick into a food processor as long as it's powered by a V8. One time you visited China, you were served a dish with congealed goose blood as like a thing. That sounds interesting. It's always wild when you start to like look into the dietary, the dietary interests of other cultures. Honestly, meaty, milky protein shake. Meaty, milky. Ooh. I drink meat. Is that what the kids call it these days? Fucking Christ. Oh, fucking hell. Just writing while I hear you guys chugging meat in the background. What is this stream anymore? Fuck. Oh, goodness me. Serial killer vibes. Well, love blood sauce, unironically. Serial killer or cannibal serial killer? Hey, Mom, this is Abby. She loves to chug that meat. Show me meat. Isn't blood food normal in the English/Aussie tradition? I know at least black pudding is common in England. And I've been in delis in supermarkets tend to sell, at least Coles tends to sell black pudding, I've noticed. I don't know how common it is, but given that Australia is basically England light, I wouldn't be shocked if there are at least families out there who do eat black pudding. I've only ever heard it referred to with scorn and disdain, same with haggis. But you can get black pudding and haggis, at least at my local Coles. So I don't know if that's a common thing or not. I don't really consume it. Haggis is... What is haggis? I know what haggis is. Hang on. I'm aware of it. It's a savory pudding containing sheep's pluck, heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onion, oatmeal, suet, spices, and salt mixed with stock and cooked while traditionally encased in the animal's stomach. Though now an artificial casing is often used instead. So this is what haggis looks like. You want to get some haggis? That's a haggis. Suet is the raw, hard fat of beef, lamb, or mutton found around the loins and kidneys. Ooh, Majors, thank you for redeeming the hugs. I like hugs. That's a good way to, Ziwa is cold. Better fix that. Come here. My love. There you go, you get a hug. Oh, fuck. God, okay. Don't step on my cat. This is why I'm a vegetarian. That's understandable. Honestly, that's an understandable reason to go veggie. It's fucking gross. Anyway. That's a cute way to round out the stream. We're at the tail end of stream now. So we're going to raid somebody shortly. Wild haggis. What's wild haggis? Let's have a look. What is that? What the fuck am I looking at? Oh, anyway. Excuse me. What is black pudding? It's basically blood pudding. Oh. As the distinct regional type of blood sausage originating in Great Britain and Ireland is made from pork or beef blood with pork fat or beef suet and a cereal, usually oatmeal, oat groats, or barley groats. Groats. It's got groats in it, guys. A high proportion of cereal, along with the use of certain herbs such as pennyroyal, serves to distinguish black pudding from blood sausages, often eaten in other parts of the world. It's got groats in it. Do you want to eat some groats? Who wants some groats? We're serving up groats, love. It's groats for dinner. Groats in black pudding and haggis. Fuck. The fucking groat. I don't know. Ah, fuck. The fucker groats. I wish I knew. I wish I had an answer for you, but I do not. I genuinely do not have an answer. Sexually identify as a boyfriend. Oh, really? Cool. Wait, are we really getting 23 centimeter trolls this late into the post-hate raid saga? Are we post-hate raids yet? Groat sounds like an American insult, but no one has ever said that here. I mean, it sounds like something... It sounds like grotty, which is a pretty common Australian slang for something being gross. Watch a Scottish streamer that puts that up anytime anyone brings up haggis. With winter around the corner, they're finally selling silt in stores, which is basically leftover pork bits, usually the cuts nobody wants to eat, and a solid broth gelatin. At a school stay they served it, and I was legit the only person who ate it. Forgot to do your dress back up. Oh, well. Nobody, whatever. I'm just going to get rid of that person because I can tell they're not worth having around. Anyway. Groats is just whole wheat oats. I was planning on timing them out, but whatever. I've seen the 23 centimeter shit before and just, you're a boring troll. I'm done with you. Anyway. You're heading off for class, Clara. Sounds good. Sounds good. I am thinking, I do be thinking though. It's the thing, what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, this is the end of the stream. We're at the end of the stream now. We've got, like, literally, technically 18 seconds, but we're going to go over. I am looking at my followed streamers list. Alright. Abby has groat to go. I'm having a bath, okay? I'm just going to say it right now. I'm having a fucking bath, cunts. Alright? So what I'm going to do, I reckon, could go to Radholm, but we did raid Radholm recently. We did raid Namaroth recently. Did we raid Caetana recently? I can't recall. Don't think so. But anyway, let's someone playing Bloodborne. I was gonna raid Grizz. Grizz is always a good bet. But Caetana is gonna be playing Don't Starve. Smolzy? Smolzy. Let's have a look. Hang on. I am always down for raiding new friends. Found Emo is doing Bloodborne. I swear I have You Found Emo on here. Oh, gross. Is this a Raid Shadow Legends ad? No, it's a Coca-Cola ad. What the fuck? That's how you can tell that Raid Shadow Legends is the most generic shit in the world, because I see generic fantasy shit fake game in a Coke ad and I immediately think Raid Shadow Legends. That's how generic Raid Shadow Legends is. It's not a good game. Fucking throw it in the bin. Smolzy's doing Nuzlocke by the look of it. Can we finish the Smolzlock? Pokemon Sword and Shield. Raid Coke Legends. You know what? Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. I see a progress flag and we stan, okay? I don't want to watch that Coke ad again. I only saw it without audio. I don't want to see it with audio. So anyway, let's go say hi. Thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. I appreciate you so much. I really do need to get on implementing that little support ad for my stream, where it's like, if you're enjoying the content, sub on Patreon, tip on Coffee, sub here on Twitch, cheer bits on Twitch. I don't fucking know. One of them, I have a fan house, but I barely post anything on there. I don't know how to use fan house. Support your favorite streamer, or I'm gonna quit streaming, because this shit ain't worth it. Anyway. If you want to see me shitpost a lot, follow me on Twitter. Join my Discord if you enjoy the community here. Subscribe to my YouTube because I post highlights from the stream, so if you've missed stuff, usually trans-related discussions. Follow my Instagram for some reason, or my Facebook for some reason, or my TikTok for some reason. I don't know. One of those. Follow my socials. That's a good idea. Also, there is my VOD channel, Rogue Offline, if you have not already followed that one. If you missed any of last week's VODs, they're not up there yet because Twitch fucked up and now my YouTube channel is not connected to my Twitch channel. Awesome job, guys. Thank you. Be kind to yourselves and each other. I love your faces, and I'll see you when I'm looking at you.